Hey everybody, welcome back to the Danger Planet. Today, we're talking about puppets.
And the S-tier puppet, Collodi.
No. So, my gosh, time has come. It has come at last. I am joined, as always, by Landon and Longton. Say hello, guys.
Hello, guys.
I have
Amazing.
also come.
But today, we are joined by a very special guest and somebody that we have not had on the channel before, Turner, a.k.a. RoadHouse, who you might know from the Discord. Turner, say hello.
Hello.
Would you prefer I address you as Turner or RoadHouse for the video?
I like my name.
Okay, nice. So if you guys have never had the pleasure of meeting Turner in person, I met Turner in real life earlier this year at Adepticon for the first time, right? Am I crazy? Was that
No,
Adepticon?
you're not. I mean, you are crazy, but that is where we met.
Not related, but yeah. We had a great time. We hung out a bit. Turner drove up from the deep south, I think, all the way to Chicago. And this year, if you come back, you'll have to drive slightly further because they moved it an hour north.
Milwaukee?
Wisconsin.
Yeah, I saw that.
But it means that you have an excuse to come again because it's in a new city.
That's true.
Isn't it colder there?
Not really.
It's about the same.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think you guys are lying, but
I mean, who can say? Nice. My favorite part is to keep weird silences in. That's my favorite part. So today we're talking about puppets, as I mentioned already, but not just any puppets. We're finally doing it, guys, the Collodi tier list. We're not, though, actually, as it turns out. I think it is important, though, to address the Collodi-shaped elephant in the room and talk about Collodi as a whole. Collodi's cool, though. He's dead man's handed. Probably don't try and bring him to tournaments, and I don't think anybody's ever going to let you play him because I think he's pretty
busted.
cracked.
Yeah, he's
cracked,
nuts.
aggressively cracked, because he can just obey puppets. You know, like the Collodi, like the Coryphee duet.
It's not even like the worst thing he does. But yeah,
his summoning is like in line with Cadmus 1 and his free actions he gets at the start of the turn, just like hands out a bunch of focus or hands out, is it distracted or slow? Unresisted. he's got an offensive obey that can slow. He's gross.
Yeah.
It's more like you've got an offensive slow that can obey, but yeah, fair enough.
I don't know. I mean, maybe we can talk about it in the comments somewhere if people really want to talk about Collodi. But even though this is sort of, I don't want to say a joke tier list because that's not really true. I think that this crew does actually have some legs. It's more like we're going to talk about like the things that are slightly more viable. You know, that you can actually play. You could literally any tournament, you could just bring these models and play them, and people would be like, "That's weird," but you know, you get it. So as a general breakdown, normally we have two versions of the master. We're not going to do that today because there aren't any masters. There's only henchmen, and henchmen don't have titles yet. But coming soon to a book near you, every henchman gets a title. That's the new Malifaux supplement that I promise is real. But we're gonna talk about Hinamatsu. We're gonna talk about all the puppet stuff together, but we're gonna talk about models that Hinamatsu can specifically hire and Widow Weaver can specifically hire. You can see the tier list; you'll figure it out. I guess then, without further ado, let's just jump right in because this is gonna be a long one. We have Hinamatsu. So Hinamatsu is a Neverborn henchman who is your friend and mine, Crazy Puppet Lady. She has armor 2, she has leverage, which is the keyword ability that she gets from the Jian Gong crew. She has rush, wicked, flurry, and she has a 2-3-4 attack, which isn't super great for flurry, but it's built in plus flips on stat 6, which is real good, and armor piercing if you need to hit armor, or onslaught to double the number of attacks you make. She has a lore, which is also a cool ability, and then her only bonus action pulses out distracted if enemy models within 3 fail a willpower duel. You see her a lot as a henchman in Neverborn in a bunch of different ways. But I don't know, Turner, what do you think? Hinamatsu.
I think she has a reputation that's stronger than her card. I'm probably going to catch a lot of flack for my opinion of Hinamatsu. I always think about her in list building as 8 soulstone cost. And I open the app and she's a 9. I'm like, oh, I really don't want to hire this.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily know that that's unfair. I think one of the things that goes chronically underrated on Hinamatsu is just her lore. And, like, I understand that you can get a lore at stat 6 for a lot cheaper than 9 points. But oftentimes those are the types of models that you don't want the enemies next to anyways, and they tend to die after they're done luring something where it doesn't want to be. Whereas Hinamatsu, you can lure something twice, stone for rip and tear, and then still take 2 to 3 attacks on it after it's been moved out of position, and then, hit it with whatever's going to go on it, knowing they're not going to one-round Hinamatsu back, and you haven't made a terrible mistake. Also, she can stone to get around concealment, which most lures can't.
I think the stronger part of getting around concealment is actually leverage, and it's one of the few instances where you'd spin the pass token for the positive.
Oh, sure. That definitely comes up later in the game, too.
Or a stone, because a pass token is, in my estimation, a lot less valuable than a stone, especially late in the game.
Yeah, that's very reasonable. Oh, before I guess we go too far, it is worth noting. So we're talking right this moment. We'll talk about them later as hires in the others crew, but specifically when we're talking about Hinamatsu or Widow Weaver being the leader of the crew, if you're playing in a 50 Soulstone or above game, they get an additional action just like Masters do. Very rarely, I think, would you ever try and play this crew in under that because your leader won't get 3 actions, but that's also true of Masters, so like it's fine. But specifically when we're talking about Hinamatsu and Widow Weaver in the leader capacity, they have 3 AP, which is nice.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing from a list building perspective you gain by having this model as the crew's leader is the access to the hiring pool of Puppet and Chi and Gong. Which is what we're talking about. So.
And we'll see both of the henchmen crews that we're talking about have a weird extra hiring pool, but this one is crazy because it's a different faction. They're not models that people expect when you show up to a tournament and declare Neverborn.
Yeah, that's from the standpoint of your opponent is going to be thinking about what is a good pick for my faction against Neverborn as a faction, and they think of the Boogeyman Masters. They are not thinking of puppets.
Yeah, that's for damn sure. Landon, what do you got anything else you want to say about Hinamatsu?
No, I think I'm good.
Haku, you got anything you want to say?
Yeah. Not particularly.
Yeah, fair enough. Hinamatsu. If you've played against Neverborn, you've probably seen this model. If you played Neverborn, you probably own it. Fun anecdote. For the first year I played this game, this model was out of stock everywhere, and I never physically saw it.
I was actually going to touch on that. If you were a newer player to Neverborn, you probably don't own this model because it goes out of stock very consistently.
Yeah, from almost the entirety of GG2 and 3, this model was just completely out of stock from COVID shortages. And I never saw one. I actually got one because my friend found an old one in a dusty corner of a game store. But so I have the M3E card. But let's talk the other leader that you can get in this crew, which is the Widow Weaver. She's a terrible spider lady. So she is terrifying 12. She has feet on fear, which is pretty irrelevant, but if somebody fails a willpower duel in her 1-inch engagement range, she can heal 1. She has Seize Prey, so she can teleport to web markers at the start of her activation. She gets counted as having the puppet keyword from during hiring, so although she doesn't have it during play, which isn't strictly speaking super relevant except for a couple things, that is why this is also why a nightmare keyword only is the other henchman we're talking about here. And she's got okay stats. Her melee attack's a 2/3/4 with that automatically hands out poison, and it's got some interesting triggers. She has Terrorize, which is like directly opposite Lure, which is potentially useful in certain circumstances, but certainly not quite as useful as Lure. She can make web markers for free as her bonus action once a turn, and then the thing that I think probably is the most appealing about her as a puppet crew master is that she can summon puppet minions by removing Scrap, and her Stuff of Nightmares ability gives her, if an enemy model within Aura 6 is killed by, unfortunately, a Nightmare model, which pretty much means her or any other Nightmare models you hire, she gets a token where she can spend that instead of the Scrap to summon puppets. But Turner, what do you think about the Weaver?
Widow Weaver is way better than Hinamatsu. Putting it out there. This take is not hot. This has been out of the oven. It's cooled on the counter. It's ready to eat and digest. Widow Weaver is better.
Oh my gosh, this is blowing my mind. What are your highlights then? What are your parts?
It's mostly Sea Spray, which is just incredible. If you think Secret Passage is a good action on Lucius or Seamus, Sea Spray does that, except it doesn't take an action. And then the other part of it is Into the Dream Web, which if you thought Hole in the World was disgusting on Yonlo 2, this is that, except it's 8 inches instead of 6 inches.
Yeah.
From
the caveat being the web markers, though, right?
Right, which she gets as a bonus, which that's only within 6 inches, but you're often able to set it up pretty easily. The big difference between how Hinamatsu plays and how Widow Weaver plays is what you're looking for them to do in the crew. Generally, Widow Weaver goes and schemes and stays out of the way of stuff and kidnaps models, whereas Hinamatsu is, to get value from her AP, she has to be hitting things. And based on how unexcited everyone was to talk about, Hinamatsu talks about how exciting her AP is when lure is the good thing. But Into the Dream Web is absolutely bonkers. It's insane. You can use it on your own models, unlike Hole in the World. It's nuts.
Oh, yeah, that doesn't say enemy only.
It does not. So the Coryphee duet that you definitely hired is getting yeeted up the table. 8 inches plus base size. Oh, plus Widow Weaver's base size plus the 1 inch of engagement range. So it goes far.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good because you place them a 50 mil and then another 50 mil probably.
Yeah,
that's a lot of extra cheating.
So from the deployment line, it's a 50 mil off the deployment line, followed 6 inches away from the deployment line is a 50 mil plus the base size of a Coryphee duet.
Yeah.
Wild.
8 inches for Into the Dream Web. But
but you got to make a web and you don't have a way to move them, so you can only make the web within 6 inches.
So walk forward, bonus action, charge backwards.
Oh boy.
I mean, she's got 3 AP,
we solved
and
it.
she doesn't. She's not really losing the movement because she's going to seize prey into that same web next turn.
Yeah. Although, to be fair, web markers are destructible, so your opponent might be able to kill it, but pretty unlikely on the first turn if it's 6 inches outside
Yeah.
the zone.
And then if that case,
and
the
they have to cut
charges.
through a Coryphee duet.
Yeah. It's not really.
I don't know, man.
I've done it a lot. So I haven't played Widow Weaver as a leader since before titles came out, but I do play Widow Weaver often in Dreamer 2, and throwing Chompy on turn 1 is basically like always thing. So the opportunity cost is like her opening AP, which wasn't going to do anything anyways. And you take 2 damage on the duet because it'll get a poison and it'll take 1.
Wow.
So it takes 2 total.
If nothing else, this has reinvigorated my willingness to play Widow Weaver in Dreamer. That's crazy.
Yeah, from scoring potential, she has both Terrorize and Into the Dream Web to displace models.
Yeah, definitely Terrorize for sure. Into the Dream Web too. Yeah, I mean, on Raid the Vault, that's pretty strong. Plus, people set up to be able to get things, and also she can stone through concealment for the
Terrorize.
Yeah, for Terrorize. Landon, anything you want to talk about Widow Weaver?
So those are some really cool tricks. Usually I'm the one who talks about tricks, but I don't even know that we really talked about summoning Stitched.
I mean, summoning. She does do summoning of any puppet minion. That's true.
Are there puppets for summoning besides Stitched together?
Well, specifically though, Widow Weaver can only summon Neverborn puppet minions, so you are much more restricted to Stitched, Redcap, Wicked Doll.
Oh yeah, red caps. You can summon red caps, which are really good because they have what do you call it?
Trail of Gore.
Trail of Gore. Yeah.
So I think that's pretty important to mention, that you can just summon guys that deny markers. Other than that, I think we did a pretty good job here. Feed on Fear probably heals you more than you think it does.
Yeah, I mean with Terrifying it's fine, but I
think Turner really was mentioning something important, which is just that this is a model that is going to be your master that schemes. Like, you'll set some stuff up early, but it's not going to go toe to toe with someone else's master, right? Like, it's just not its job.
Yeah, and I don't think either of them can, which is why what Widow Weaver does is very unique, not just to the faction, but a lot of the game, and how mobile she is and how good she is at taking something. And it should be pointed out with the Stitch summoning, is that ability was so good, they took it off of a master because they felt it was too good. So it's good.
The Dreamer one, they eroded to not be able to do that.
Yep.
Wild. Haku, you got any last thoughts?
I think even though we talked her up a lot and Hinamatsu down a bit, do remember you are, I think most lists you're hiring both these models, and Hinamatsu then is cheaper as your master.
Yeah, we'll talk about them again from a leader's perspective. I guess that doesn't really make sense.
No, I'm saying for picking leader, it is kind of nice just for the cross-reference that Hinamatsu, you're getting quote-unquote an extra soulstone. And the AP is on her instead of on Hina, which is the trade-off, but it's not that bad of a trade-off.
I'm just going to put them up now.
It's just whether or not you think you're going to prefer Qi and Gong as a subset of models to hire, which is probably more relevant from a tech perspective, or whether or not you're going to want the raw power of lucid dreaming.
Yeah, and just get the discount from being nightmare keyworded.
Yeah.
Brandon, I'm sorry we've discovered mid-recording that you formatted this wrong, because this is how we're going to talk about it. That makes sense. So I guess then within the context of the Hinamatsu crew,
I feel pretty confident that we're going to hire Widow Weaver a lot. Do you think that she's an auto include?
I think it's going to come down to the opponent. Like, I wouldn't hire her into Outcast because Taylor eats her lunch. I probably wouldn't hire her into Guild. They have too many fast, ruthless, long-range things that also kill her dead. But other than those two that I can think of off the top of my head, I probably wouldn't hire her into Rezzers, because if they flip Seamus, then I'm super sad.
Yeah. So I'm going to stick Widow Weaver in the Hinamatsu crew, which is a thing I'm going to be saying a lot. Sorry in advance, everyone. That's just my favorite, the Hinamatsu crew. I'm going to stick Widow Weaver in the top of some matchups for now. Maybe that'll change. And then I guess Hinamatsu specifically in the Widow Weaver crew. I feel like even more sub matchups, but I'm happy to be talked out of it. No one's talking me out of it, so we'll go with it. Yeah.
I'm thinking about it. Like, I feel like I'm mostly going to be hiring Hinamatsu in the Widow Weaver crew. I still don't see why you wouldn't.
Yeah. Well, because you don't have the soul stones and you want to hire other things, I guess. But
I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, Turner?
Yeah, and I think she gets really good with the healing support of Vasilisa, which is going to come in all the time.
So I think what we have now is fair. I think I'm always taking Hinamatsu.
Yeah, I think this is good.
Okay. So let's talk then about the next sort of hurdle we have in this list. Your totem, right? So this is a henchman, so you don't get a totem traditionally. Instead, you get the effigies with the helping hand ability, and the one that you automatically get whether you want it or not. I guess you don't have to hire it, but like, why wouldn't you? Is the mysterious effigy. It's bad stats all around. They literally are all defense 5, willpower 4, movement 5, size 1. They all have exactly the same 5 abilities, which are armor 1, hard to kill, accomplice, before and after, and helping hand. Helping hand is what gives them for free if you're hiring a henchman-led crew, but you can only pick the Neverborn one. Because normally you're not allowed to take the rest of them. It's just that they all happen to be puppets. Armor 1, hard to kill is pretty good, but they all have 4 health, which makes them pretty easy to remove despite those really good defensive techs. Accomplice is a super, super powerful ability. When they end their activation, a model within 6 can pitch a pass token or discard to activate immediately. And then before and after is just they're not allowed to be hired into a crew containing the emissary of the same name, which for the other 7 you're not allowed to hire them ever. But for the Neverborn Mysterious Effigy, I guess the only reason you wouldn't take it for free is if you were definitely hiring the Mysterious Emissary for some reason. The thing to talk about, though, is the upgrade. All puppets can have a 2-cost upgrade called Effigy of Fate, where at the start of turn 3, if they're still alive, they're replaced with the Emissary of Fate model that shares a faction with it, and they heal too. So they'll be at 6 health instead of full, which is kind of garbage. Obviously, you're taking this model because you get it for free, but Turner, are you ever putting the upgrade, or are there any cool things that you do with this?
In the games that I played with this, I never put the upgrade on it, but there were times that I did not take this model and hired the Mysterious Emissary, because the Mysterious Emissary is insanely good.
Wild. Yeah, I think more so than any of the other effigies. In any other case, that's probably a thing, which is wild in a puppet list because it is a puppet. But
yeah, again, it comes down to Vasilisa and the staggered aura, and that combos exceedingly well with the Mysterious Emissary. And the Mysterious Emissary, I think, is just the best emissary, and I don't know that that's biased. I think most people would agree.
Maybe I think the Intrepid's got a pretty good case.
Yeah, the Intrepid is probably the other one, and that's, I think, we'll talk about.
And I don't
later.
think Hodgepodge makes it into this crew, but Hodgepodge is a pretty strong emissary.
Admittedly, he's stronger the earlier you get him.
Right.
Yeah, well, which you'll never get in this crew before turn 3.
Which is why he's not as relevant in the crew.
Yeah, I've had the Mysterious Emissary in games on turn 1, like second activation. It gets pushed up by something on Wedge, and the opponent didn't understand how it worked, and they just get Hungry Land all in their deployment zone.
Yeah, those are rough games.
Yeah, for the opponent.
Sometimes the land be hungry. I don't know.
It do be
hungry. You know what? We didn't actually talk about its abilities or its actions. So it has lore, which is stat 4. Not great.
It has lore? I didn't know it had lore.
Yeah, it has lore. Stat
so
4.
So for a friendly, you need
DM12.
an 8 to pull your other model forward, which is the only thing you would use it for, I think.
Yeah. It also has a 1/3/4 0-inch melee attack with Drink Blood.
I mean, the aura's cute.
You know.
Yeah.
And then the hallmark of the effigies is that they each have one aura ability that they have, and so does the emissary. This aura is that you get to cheat face down within 3 inches of it.
So let me tell you my favorite use for this model that I've seen now that we've gone over all of the abilities on the card. It's actually a really secret hidden ability that, isn't written out explicitly. It's when this model dies, it drops a scrap marker.
Oh boy.
So you get to save yourself the 3 soul stones most people would take hiring like a wicked doll to kill so you can summon Stitched.
Yeah, but it takes an extra AP because it's hard to kill.
That much is true, and it's a little sad.
Because it's got armor as well.
And
so
armor 1.
Yeah, so Min 2 or Min 3 doesn't get there in 1 hit. Min 3 doesn't get there in 2 hits.
So then extra better in Widow Weaver, where you can hire Teddy without the tax, so he can just eat it.
Yeah, there you go.
And that only costs you 10 soul stones instead of 3.
Does it drop scrap when it does that, though?
I think it does. I think it's just... Hold on, let's check out Teddy.
No, it definitely does. That's a thing I've done before, so it either does or I cheated.
It doesn't say it doesn't, so you just bonus actions on it, and it dies and drops the scrap. Well, we found a reason to hire Teddy.
The only reason that you'd ever hire Teddy, ever, under any circumstances.
When Teddy is 4 soul stones, that's pretty compelling.
Sure, yeah.
Man, I want to play this now.
Oh man, wild stuff. All right, good. I thought you were gonna say because you can pay 2 extra soul stones to put the upgrade on it, and then just give your opponent try and goad your opponent into getting a beater out of just like deploy it off to the side and run it off to the corner and be like, haha, I'm gonna get an emissary, and they're like, I gotta kill that model. But no, probably not.
Yeah, I think the Mysterious really needs to be on the table for a long time because most of its value comes from generating the Severe Hazardous.
Yeah, the Mysterious Emissary definitely is there for a long time, not a good time, especially for your opponents. Haku, you got any fun anecdotes about the Mysterious Effigy?
Nah, I've gotten screwed by his lure before in a game, but that's about it. That's the only reason I know about it is I actually got Lamau by it.
I'm shocked that it hit.
I think I blacked. Pretty confident, actually, I blacked. And it was just like, one of those things.
That sounds right.
Sometimes it's just the Ioneers with the stat 4 lore, and it's just like, they flip good, and you don't have a card you want to throw in for it.
Yep.
Yeah.
It costs them
Most was
nothing to
game
try.
defining, if I remember. I think it was
Yeah.
the whole VP point that mattered a lot. And I was just like, oh.
Well,
This sucks.
Haku, if you didn't play with the upgraded Fate deck that's exclusively black and red jokers, it'd probably come up less often. But
I mean,
Yeah.
that's just the deck I've been holding hostage for the last 3 years.
Yeah, he has been holding my good deck hostage.
What is that
Nice.
one called? The Chibi deck or whatever?
Yeah.
the
the
8-bit deck?
Fomahal, the like 2000 and fucking, I don't even want to think of the year.
Oh, it's like
that came out.
an old event that you have a fancy deck from.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's not
Alright, well-
fancy. It's disgusting and unreadable. I hate that deck.
It's that's not an uncommon refrain, you honestly you hear about that deck.
Yeah, Sam did a similar thing. He has the Saloon deck, which is the worst because one, it's not really. Oh, he played with the Puppet deck for the longest time, which is completely illegible. Although very on theme for this
Tier list.
episode. And then he was playing with the Saloon deck because we complained so much about the Puppet deck, and that has a naked Mataka as the red joker.
I've seen that one. My buddy has that.
Yeah, you can actually get it on DriveThruRPG. The people who print the cards, if you click the buy Malifaux cards, it's up there on their website. But don't get it because it's terrible. And my counter to that was I got a normal poker deck with full frontal male nudity to play against Sam whenever he busts out the Saloon deck. And now we don't play Malifaux anymore. So problem solved. We did it. What a time. So let's talk real quick about the rest of the effigies. Because they're pretty much everything we said about them serious outside of its ability stuff comes with it. You can hire these. You can get their emissary on turn 3 if you hire it for 4 stones plus the 2 stone upgrade, and you're allowed to hire them all. But we'll go Arcane first, just because that's the order that I have them in. The 2 things that this guy has that are unique are definitely real and for sure things.
Yeah, I would say they are.
My app won't load.
Yeah, well, for the youth that are listening, Negation Aura is bussin' on cap, no got. Wait,
wow.
On God, no cap.
I feel like that's worse than
No
any
cap?
language we've used on this show.
Wait, I'm sorry. Are they no cap or on cap?
No, it's Ohio Skibbity Riz. That's what I meant.
For real?
Wow.
For real.
I can't
For real.
Are you really saying the Arcane Effigy's got Riz?
He does.
I mean, look at those candles.
I don't know. So I think the only time you'd ever actually hire this thing is if the Dispel was something you wanted for 4 soul stones, which is better than putting that upgrade that I don't even remember the name of. That
Eldritch Magic.
Yeah, that thing doesn't exist. This thing is better than that.
I think Negation Magic and Dispel Magic, Negation Aura and Dispel Magic are worth hiring this thing as a maybe I'll use this, and if I don't, it gets 4 points that can score points.
Yeah, it is. They are significant. That's fair.
Negation Aura is amazing. I've used this thing playing Zerated 2 and it's probably my second most summoned of the effigies. It's really good.
The only downside is this one has no melee attack, so it can't really keep things in its aura.
Yeah, it's fair. It can't just say, haha, you have to deal with me now.
But it does have an 8-inch gun that it can waste actions on to pepper damage.
Pew pew.
You know?
Yeah, you could definitely waste AP on a 1/2/3 that's stat 4.
So are we hiring him ever?
I think so. I think he's in some matchups.
I'm going to put him at the bottom of some for both.
Except for on those sums where then he becomes very needed. Just removal OP.
Yeah. I mean, for you can hire Serena Bowman for twice the stones and half the range, but it also heals. So
the thing about Serena Bowman is you can't use it offensively. And if there's one thing I've learned playing McCabe, it's really fucking annoying when people strip off your focus.
Yeah, because
I think McCabe is kind of a nightmare matchup for puppets.
What are you telling me? A whole crew that completely just can have lightsabers and ignore your bullshit? Is it problematic? Oh, no.
But this would help a little bit.
Okay. What about the Brutal over here? So Brutal Effigy he's got a stat 1 Pine Box, which is never going to hit any model ever. He's got also a gun, but it's a 1/2/4 with crit strike, 10 inches, stat 4. And then the Guild Aura is if a friendly model ends in activation within 3, they heal 1 if they damaged an enemy model, or heal 1/2/3 if they killed an enemy model.
I mean, against Gremlins, stat 1 per size, that hits. That's even up.
All right, so you can pine box Bayou models theoretically.
Well, here's the real thing. If you're taking a Mimic, it's not stat 1 Pine Box. It's stat 7 Pine Box on Doppelganger.
Amazing.
Yeah, which that hits everything. But then they get out with the DN13 in there next to your model that has Disguised as one of its things that keep it alive. Not great. I think this is one of the ones that you would hire and put the upgrade on if you're taking it, because in Raid the Vaults for this GG, or in like previous GGs, Corrupted Ley Lines, this is a late game, they're going to score, but now this is a big skeletal horse head wearing thing with a much better pine box. I'm going to bury them and stop them from scoring.
Sure. How frequently, though, are we going to do this? I guess this is a some matchup, then?
Less than the Arcane, I would think.
Oh, Haku, do you have anything to say about Brutal?
No, not really.
Okay, wild. All right, I'm gonna put him below the Arcane Effigy in sometimes. I worry for the sometimes category in this tier list.
It's gonna be bad.
The thing is with the effigies is that they're all tech picks. So I mean, sometimes.
Yeah, you're not wrong. This is not a problem with the models. This is a problem with the system. My bad.
I mean, it's literally the reason you take Puppet, right? Is to have
this massive
a plethora
toolbox.
of options. Yeah. Like none of it's going to be the best. It's never going to be the worst though.
Yeah. All right. Well, Carrion's next. He's got Aura of Decay, which means within 3 enemy models within range can't heal or use Soul Stones to reduce damage. Which I guess is aggressively tech picky in very specific circumstances. Although it does require your
hot
very
garbage
squishy model to be within 3
Yeah,
inches.
I'm definitely giving this one a not even worth for the tech.
Hot garbage.
It can heal undead. It can heal undead models
for all those undead constructs.
And then it's got a gun that does injured maybe. Okay, cool. Hodgepodge, yeah. The Hodgepodge Effigy, he does some things. His special effigy abilities are having a knife and some wares. To be fair, 1, 2, 3 heal is pretty respectable on armor models, but he's got a bad melee with armor piercing, and then his aura is. If a friendly model within range kills an enemy model, they can pitch a card to get a soul stone. Which the only real context that I think would be super good is if you had, like, I don't know, let's say a ranged sniper that could delete models without any issue whatsoever standing next to it.
I'm still gonna give this one a nah.
We did it. But just saying, that's a strat for Dr. Silas.
Yeah, fair enough. He gets this for free though.
Because he gets it for free, and you just camp it next to Angel Eyes and get soul stones. Do you have anything to say, Turner, about Hodgepodge? No.
I've seen the Hodgepodge hired an Outcast crew with the upgrade on it, and it's always been priority 1 to kill. I don't know that it's in the games I've played against that I've ever allowed it to become the donkey. So yeah, I'm gonna pass because I think most people know that's 6 soul stones that you just gotta kill, and it's not gonna get 6 soul stones of value before it dies.
It's worth noting that this effigy, for whatever reason, people were like, you know how all of the effigies have the exact same stat line, and that's really cool? Fuck that guy. He gets defense 4.
Oh yeah. Oh, I forgot he has defense 4, not 5. Right.
He doesn't even get whip 5 to compensate. He just gets defense 4 for some reason.
He's even more of a victim. It's a stupid hat, I think.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, they all have a silly hat. I guess his hat's the
I like the
Carrion's
hat. The Carrion has like a nice little
Plague Doctor mask.
Plague Doctor mask and like a weird Beefeater style shenanigans.
Do we count a mask as a hat? Because otherwise the Mysterious Effigy doesn't have one.
No, it has multiple. It wears one on top and one on bottom.
Okay.
Also, that's a wig. It doesn't grow its own hair.
Okay, that's fair.
Whole puppets don't have.
And I'll die on this hill, but a wig is a hat.
Someone will have to take up the challenge at Boston. Not today.
I don't know.
If you disagree, then come to the GT we're hosting.
Now we're gonna
July.
get on a tangent. Like, is coffee soup because it's bean water?
Oh,
like,
don't even. Okay,
do not start
there are
that.
People.
Start that at Boston.
I have friends that are now worried and are feeling anxiety for a reason that they do not know because you mentioned the soup argument around me. Fucking everything is soup. Pizza is soup, and I'll die on that hill too.
Okay, yeah, you're way off on that.
Please
but-
stop.
No. Okay, all right. Come to Boston. Debate me, you cowards. Intrepid Effigy. So this boyo, I think we sort of talked about is one of the prime upgrade possibilities, because that model is real good. But his aura lets friendly models within range heal one if they pass a duel that's generated by an enemy model now, because they had to change that.
It was too good.
It was too good, because it used to just be simple dual pass by 2 or more, you'd heal one. But they took that away. Yes, Torch, which is the 1/2/3 that gives burning, which is irrelevant, I think, but big deal.
It's not irrelevant because we have Galvanize as a trigger.
Galvanize, yeah. This thing has...
Fine, yeah, you're right.
It shows when it was released, because the design of it is so much better than all the other ones. It's just utility the whole way through that's actually usable. Torch for Galvanize, and then Lead the Way is just amazing.
Yeah, Lead the Way. Lead the Way is just is fucking wildly good. It's better take by the hand almost. Super good. I don't think we're always gonna hire this, but I think we're definitely gonna put it in.
I think it's more than the Arcane.
Oh yeah, it's of the ones we've talked about so far and will talk about. It's definitely far more likely to wind up in your list. This is I've got a 4 soulstone hole I need filled, and the Intrepid is like, tag me in, coach.
Yeah.
So since we're on the topic, if we're using Torch for Galvanize, what model are we hitting and what model's getting the focus? I'm guessing it's the Duet, which we haven't talked about, that's getting the focus. But what model gets the burning one, or the 1/2/3 burning one?
You can put that on anyone, because if this thing is not leading the way after it's punching, you can just assist off the burning that it gave out. But you're
That's
always Vasilisa is always going to be in the crew. You will always be able to heal off the damage with a bonus action turn 1.
Yeah. There's no world that you're ever not going to have her. So
also, who cares about Mysterious?
Oh yeah, you just burn Mysterious Imagery, and then hey, you're one step closer. To
that one damage.
Scrap. There we go.
There you go. Why didn't I think of that?
Now we're cooking with portals. Wild. All right, we got 2 left. We got Senor Lucky, which is possibly the most adorable of them, of the
hot garbage
of the effigies. His knife is bad. He's got a slow attack, and his aura lets you cheat off the top. Like, I'm not hiring this.
You don't think the grown Lucky Emissary is worth its scheming potential in the late game?
No, I think that...
You don't think Dazzling Flourish is worth 4 points? I can understand the rest of the argument, but a stat 5 slow for your 4-point model, I actually think is pretty decent.
Nah, because he's so slow himself. Like, he's only moved 5, so when's he getting in range to use it? I can't imagine a situation where you have 4 soul stones for this, but you're not hiring the Intrepid before it, you know? And I can't think of a list where you're hiring multiple effigies. I can't think of a list where you're hiring multiple effigies. I don't think it's a good list, though.
So do you think, Landon, that this guy is better than Hodgepodge?
I think so.
All right, I will give you then top of never hire,
okay.
But I still think that we're probably not.
I gotta challenge you on that. This thing's late game scheming potential as the hamster wheel is higher than the Hodgepodge's as the donkey.
I mean,
yeah, because the Hodgepodge's not getting to that back vault.
All right, best
I'll
do
is getting to that back vault.
All right, best I'll do is I'll swap them in Hinamatsu and hit Widow Weaver. That's the most I can offer you.
Because Turner's playing Widow Weaver while Landon's playing Hinamatsu. Got it.
We did it. And then we can just skip this one. It's fine. So Vasilisa. Okay, Shadow. The Shadow.
I don't think I'm going to argue with you. The concealment bubble's not worth it.
No, skip it. He's hot garbage.
Someone's going to be in the comments like, remember the mission's so good, guys, and I'll be like, it's 4-inch range.
It's not good.
It's honestly okay for Covert, I think. Remember the mission as a rule, but I don't love it for Puppet because Puppet doesn't have a lot of the 2-inch reach guys I like for Covert for using that sort of strat. I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't know. Then he has to be near things. We're not doing this. Great. We stalled long enough for his card to be up for people to read it if they care. Interacts are good, but you have to be 4 inches. It's just not. We're not doing that. So let's get to the heart of the Puppet crew. The previous henchman in 2nd edition, but for some reason now just an enforcer. Vasilisa, Vasilisa, as some people say, but she's based on a Russian folklore. I'm pretty sure it's Vasilisa, but I don't know. I'm not Russian. This lady is armor 2, which is pretty good, 7 health, and then just insane. It's stat 6s across the board, and then just every ability on her card is banging. So, move along is nuts. Every model that starts their activation within 3 of her gets +1 movement until the end of their activation, and you already have some fast models in this crew, and holy shit, they get faster. It's ridiculous.
I know move along is really good, but you skip the important, really busted ability that's above it on the card.
We'll get to it. So when she walks, she can choose a puppet with lower size within 2 and scoop them up and put her into base contact at the end, which is kind of nice. But as just a general premise, during the start phase, every enemy model with an aura 2 of a friendly puppet gets staggered.
For the longest time, I thought you had to be engaged for this ability. You don't. You just have to be within 2.
Yeah. And the aura is off of each of your models. There's no line of sight requirement. It happens anywhere that you go.
There's
you do have to be in line of sight. No. Of Vasilisa, there's no line of sight requirement. It hits every one of your puppets on the board always. Then you have to just get a puppet within 2 inches and you auto stagger them. Which is, I don't know if you've ever started a turn of Malifaux where your whole crew gets staggered, but let me tell you, it's not fucking fun. Especially when you look at her melee attack, which hits like a fucking freight train. So it's stat 7. If the target has staggered, you just flat out ignore negatives to the dual and damage flip. It does 1, 2, 4, and then the model has to pitch a card, or until the end phase, can't do anything printed on its stat card, action-wise. It still has his abilities. It has a mass trigger for getting out staggered if you didn't already have staggered. It has a ram trigger where if they are staggered, it's not a 1, 2, 4, it's a 3, 4, 6. And if it's in an enemy construct, you can drop a scrap with them. She also can make puppets, although unlike Widow Weaver, she doesn't get to stone for the mask that you need. But it works the same way. And then her 2 bonus actions are both crazy, but Field Repairs is a 1, 2, 3 that with a ram can heal 2 more. And Pulling the Strings makes any friendly minion within 6 take an action. If you remove a ski marker within 3 of the target, great. If you don't, after they take the action, they die. Which is less great, but still useful in certain circumstances.
It's not after they take the action, it's during the end phase, sir.
It is during the end phase. Oh, wow, that's way better. Which, you can use to make people not be able to score if you want, I guess, right? That's a thing.
Well, the neat thing with Pulling the Strings is it may remove a ski marker. It doesn't state friendly ski marker, so you can use it as a ranged ski marker removal.
Yeah, that's an oversight. Holy shit.
It's within 6 inches of her, or the target has to be within 6 inches of her, but the marker just has to be within 3 inches of the model. So the range of that is huge. And because it's in italics, it's a cost, so you don't have to succeed. You can just flip it and remove the marker, that's it. You don't have to succeed.
And if you fail and remove the marker, you just removed the marker and your model doesn't die. But I guess if you remove the marker, the model
but if you remove the marker, it's not dying anyways.
Fair enough. So Turner, tell us, Vasilisa. We're probably not hiring her, right? Ever?
No. Granny got hands. Vasilisa is amazing. I think the best game I had with her is on turn 3 against Von Schill. My opponent had already spent all their stones, and because I was playing Lucius, I had 1,000,000 cards, and Vasilisa 2-tapped Hannah from full.
Ooh.
She just bonked her for 6 twice and killed her.
Oh no.
Well, the nice part about Vasilisa on Henchmen in particular is they can't even stone her to a negative. She just ignores it.
Yep, she just ignores it. She just goes bonk bonk, you died. She's stat 7. They need to be staggered, which is easy to accomplish in this crew. The harder part is getting the cards for it, but with stat 7, there's a lot of places you can, if they're a stat 5 model, then even a tie, double negs. Actually, no negatives. Take 6.
Yeah. I guess it's a 0 inch. That's the only drawback, but whatever, dude.
And while she's moved 5 on the front of card during her own activation, she's moved 6 because of move along.
Yeah, auras affect themselves.
Yeah.
So she had to be moved 5, otherwise she'd be moved 7. Wild. Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind we're auto hiring this every time in Puppets. Landon, do you have anything you want to talk about Vasilisa with?
No, Vasilisa's real good. You're always taking Vasilisa.
Haku, okay. Sorry, did you have more?
Yeah, I don't really know that I have more now that I think about it. Yeah, no, she's just real good.
Yeah, fair enough. Haku, you got anything to say? Any negative things to say about Vasilisa?
That's not.
Outside of things that she did to you in second edition?
No, second
Zurich
edition she
Reach,
was fine.
sometimes
Everything
bad.
died to Vix in second edition. She just
I don't know
died
if
to
she was
Vix in
actually
second.
fine in second edition. There's debate.
I played Vix, so I didn't see what the crew actually did. I just killed them all turn one. Yeah, no idea. She's fine. I like summons. The bad thing about her is that she's 7 HP. Kind of can die if you have anyone who just easily ignores armor.
Or just Black Blood. Goddamn Black Blood.
And ping damage as well. Yeah, 7 HP is not a lot of HP.
I mean, if you're hitting them for 6, then the Black Blood should only hit you once, right?
Until it's Nekoma 2 bleeding on you.
To make sure you hit. So I think if we're going to look at it from the matchup perspective, where when you go into the faction and you're, what am I not hiring into this? I don't think you're supposed to hire Nekoma into purple because Zoraida. Because I think that matchup heavily favors Zoraida because she's so good at obeying matures. And matures are good against themselves.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe. I guess if they're just spamming Nekoma, probably don't buy Vasilisa. Or if you do, you're not going to have quite the effect, but...
Probably still bring Vasilisa for
I think
healing.
you probably still bring her. So let's talk... if not Vasilisa, the best model. But honestly, probably just the best model in this keyword. So we're going to talk about, I guess, kind of 4 models real fast, but the Coryphee duet is 12-stone Enforcer. Although it's not really, it's more like 2 6-stone minions, but defense 7, willpower 5, move 6. Crazy. Armor 2, agile, so you can just walk out of combat. Nimble, so you can walk as a bonus action. Blade Rush, so when you charge, it can move through enemy models. It can move through other models in general, but enemies that you move through take a damage. And when it dies, it's replaced with 2 mannequins, which we'll talk about in a minute. It's got a 2/4/5 melee attack that's stat 7 with 1 inch with crit strike and execute, and can pulse out distraction. It has the power of dance, which is not something you can say many things about. It's just aura heals friendly models within 3. Pulse heals friendly models within 3 for 2. That has reposition on it, because why not? You can place it into base contact with a friendly model within 6 with Dance Partner. Although you do need a mask, because you won't have any other performers in the crew unless you have a mannequin somehow. And then for its bonus action, it can split into 2 Coryphee.
Hot garbage, you're never hiring this.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess just because I think we're sort of talking about this all in one lump sum, the Coryphee are the same sort of premise. They have agile, nimble, armor 2, demise. They break into 1 mannequin, and then defense 6, willpower 4, movement 5. So 1 less everywhere. They still have their 2/4/5, but it has different triggers now. Gives out 1 distract or reposition, so no more crit strike or execute. It gains dazzling flourish, so it can slow people within 6. It still has Dance Partner, but its Dance Partner has a tome trigger for focused, which is not possible to do in this crew unless you're targeting another Coryphee, or a mannequin, I guess. And it can, as its bonus action, replace itself and another Coryphee with the Coryphee duet. And if they die, they turn into mannequins, which are like pretty reasonable. They have dazzling flourish, an okay melee attack, but importantly, they have take the hit. So Turner, do you want to talk about Coryphee duet and then it's the Coryphee dance together nonsense?
So it's the exact opposite of what I said a second ago. If you are playing the puppet keyword, it's because you want to hire this model. This is the reason you play puppet. If you've never seen one of these on the table, it's difficult to conceptualize how much it actually does, because in the 12 soulstone form, it doesn't seem like at a glance like it should be 12 soulstones, but because of the way the dance apart works, when you end its activation, or when you bonus and dance apart, so you start the turn with a Coryphee duet. It does 2 AP of things. Then the last thing it does is its bonus to dance apart. You nominate one of those Coryphee to be activated. The other Coryphee has not activated yet. So then when it goes, it dances back together, and you get to take another 2 AP of this monstrous thing with all the rules that just got run down. And because you made a second model that you did not summon, you get a pass token for free, essentially, because you just gain an activation in the turn your opponent didn't get, what they would have gotten if you had summoned. It's move 6, and with Vasilisa nearby, it'll be move 7. So it just goes across the world when it dances apart. There's, big bases of placement, so it goes even further than you would think. It's never locked in combat. It just goes wherever it wants. Most things that can ignore armor 2 aren't fast enough to catch it. Frequently, they don't target willpower. They go against defense, and this thing is defense 7. This thing is nuts.
Yeah.
What you do have to be careful of is that in the moment when you are a Coryphee and not a Coryphee duet, you're only defense 6 instead of defense 7. And you've only got 5 wounds, essentially, because if they kill one of these things, you still have a Coryphee, but you don't have a duet anymore. And that's, not great.
Yeah, that's when you're able to be killed. You're vulnerable when you're danced apart.
Yeah, so you got to be real careful about where you place the Coryphee when you unduet them. When they're unduetted, they have pretty decent actions too, though usually I think you're just walking and dancing together again, and to just take more AP as the duet. I don't know if you're really ever taking just Coryphee AP.
No, I think Coryphee are good enough that if the duet didn't exist, they would be hireable models.
Oh, for sure. I guess the only reason you would ever take an AP as the Coryphee as opposed to the duet is if you wanted to slow something off of Dazzling Flourish, because that seems to be the only thing they do that they can't do as a duet.
Yeah. You could easily spend the 2 AP that you get off the Coryphee, just slow something, focus, dance back together. Now your Coryphee duet has a focus.
Yeah,
or I guess you can double
still
focus.
Concentrate after you became the duet, though, is my point, I guess.
That's true.
Preparations on Dance Partner, though, so you could dance apart, focus, and then dance partner the other Coryphee with the tome trigger, and then when they dance back together on its activation, it has 2 focus.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Importantly, when you replace one model with multiple models, you choose one of the models replacing to be the one that's activated, and then you also choose one that is to be the model that gets all of the conditions. You can't split them, but you can give the focus to one and then activate the other one and then focus that. So,
I think one of the really underrated actions on the duet, though, at least by players who are playing it for the first couple of times, is the power of dance, especially in a crew that has so much armor and tankiness already, assuming your opponent isn't just ignoring all your armor, in which case you're in a bad spot to begin with. But the flat heal 2 in an AoE is really nice.
Yeah, and 3 inches doesn't seem big, but it's off a 50mm base, so it actually is sizable.
Yeah. The finer points of replacing are something that if you're curious about, you should definitely just read that one page in the rulebook.
Multiple times.
Multiple times. It's page 32 of the core rules, because it's got 7 clauses, and all of them are really, really dense Malifaux sentences. So you can't dance it apart, have the second one move, dance them back together, and then based on the new placing activate, because if you're already active, it's a whole thing. But it's very complicated. It will confuse your opponent. It's very good. We can make probably a 20-minute sub video on how to use it, but
probably should.
We probably should. Maybe I'll
do it primarily.
The main reason to do that is hopefully just get this model nerfed finally. It's actually just bonkers that this has survived the whole GG3.
Yeah. Haku, tell us about it. How bad is it? What has it done?
It's done everything. The model is one of the most cancerous models in the game. Always has been, because it can give the activation control. Which is just probably. I'll just say it. I still maintain this is probably the best thing you can do in Malifaux. Period.
Is activation control or Coryphee duet?
Activation control.
Okay. Wild.
Yeah. In the game of I go, you go, being able to stack up I go is powerful.
Yeah. Yep. You are not wrong. I think within context of a crew that doesn't really do a lot of damage outside of this, it's probably less ridiculous. But in a crew that's all murdery beatsticks, albeit a weird one that costs a lot of money, which we'll talk about at the end, it's pretty strong. So there's no world that you're ever not hiring a Coryphee duet. I'm going to put it above Vasilisa, I think, because maybe there are some circumstances where you don't hire.
I think you should put it in front of Widow Weaver and Hinamatsu in those rows.
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But just for the sake of, I'm not getting no
clarity of the graphic.
The hilarity, yeah, all right. I mean, I like it. I'll do it for a little while, but somebody remind me to put them back later. They are that good. Now, are you ever going to hire a Coryphee by itself? Probably not. You will have them. Also the sort of shitty part is with this model that when you buy it, you have to either buy the box twice, or which you want to anyway, because in the box are 2 Coryphee and 2 mannequins, and you have access. You have the ability to have 2 Coryphee. Theoretically, you could have a Coryphee duet, although you'll never do that, and 4 mannequins. So the only way to get all 4 mannequins is to buy 2 boxes, and the only way to get enough Coryphee to make the separate models for each duet and each of the 40 mils Coryphee is to get 2 boxes. But there are a couple people online who sell like a base kit where you have like basically a small piece of resin with a strong magnet that holds the Coryphee in place, inserted into the base, and you can take it out of the 50 mil and put them onto their own 40 mils. So if you want to not buy 2, that's your option. But in general, you're probably looking at buying 2 of this box. So I guess that's a caveat to the keyword. You're not going to play it if you don't do that. Mannequins, I guess we can talk about a little bit more. I don't know if there's anything really that you want to say that I didn't already cover. But they have take the hit, you know? What do you think, Turner? Do you think they go somewhere other than...
They are some matchups, because take the hit is not an ability that exists in Neverborn.
That's true. Yeah. Just like another ability that doesn't exist in Neverborn, which we'll cover when we talk about the Chiangong models. But yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think a take the hit model probably has to just be in some matchups. And if they do manage to kill your Coryphee duet, you can stop other things from dying by making them kill your mannequins instead.
They're low-key also just like not bad schemers if you hired them with a duet, because they just get to push after your duet.
Sure.
Well, it's actually like Supreme Zoraida tech, because then they follow the Coryphee duet around, and Zoraida's like, man, I'd really love to obey that willpower 5 thing, and the mannequin's just always going to be there to take the hit, and then you can read the FAQ about obey and take the hit.
Love that fact.
Wild. So yeah, no, that's fair. Do you think then higher than the effigies? I mean, I can put it above Intrepid, I guess. That's probably correct. I don't know if they go above the Widow Weaver.
No, certainly not.
Probably not. But yeah, so that's definitely a fair point. And you get them in the same box, so you do kind of need them anyway. But your Coryphee do great into them. So, and when they replace it with them, just like when they replaced with the Coryphee duet, if it's not a cost restrictive thing, if you have selected them for a scheme, this will become the model that's selected, and none of the models are insignificant. So they can always interact with the strat, which is another really crucial part. That's quite frankly probably sort of bullshit, but you know, it's what it is. Let's talk then about your friend and mine, the Bunraku.
Never.
Yeah, never.
Never.
Okay,
we're done.
Well, no, but they're so fast. They're
never.
Fast boys.
We're done.
Okay. I will say, you know, they have armor and leverage. That's good. Their defensive trigger doesn't do anything. It functionally is irrelevant because they only have 5 health. But they are reckless, which is kind of nice. You can get some AP out of them a bit more. But they do cost you 6 stones. How never are we talking?
Never.
Yeah, never.
These things are really expensive. They don't really have a lot of merit to them. Like, their bonus that's supposed to give them free movement just hurts them, and they don't have a lot of health to begin with. So when you're like straddling the worlds of tanky model and fast model, you suddenly are no longer tanky if you've used your bonus like twice during the game. You're just really easy to pick off at 5-4 with 4 wounds. And a trigger that only works on defense if you win your duel on stat 5. Like, no.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
I feel like for a scheme runner, getting one shot by severe 6 is where you like want to avoid. And so if you use your bonus once, you get one shot by severe 6.
And if you don't, you're a really shitty model without a bonus.
Yep.
All right. Fine. Jeez.
I mean, they look cool.
They do look cool. Yeah, you're not wrong.
Dude, I have 6 of these things because they were really good in second. I'm not happy they're bad.
Wild. All right, maybe they need a glow up. Weird. Get on it. Errata buff all of the puppet models if you have a moment. Talking to you, I don't know, Nathan. Probably not Nathan. Kyle? Probably not Kyle. I don't know, but someone get on it. Please, thank you. Stitch together. These guys are rad. They're Oogie Boogies. Firstly, you can also get fancy ones on the holiday sales that are these adorable little stuffed bears.
The barely like together are legit.
Smaller. They're barely together. Or you can get a stuffed animal of the barely together. That's a thing that exists. But 5s across the board. Feed on Fear, which Bloated Stench, which is kind of if they get melee, they poison the attacker. They have armor 1. Eat your fill, so they melee somebody you heal to.
Yeah, he just glazed over. He just said F had some really bonkers abilities, but okay.
All right, fine. What? Feed on Fear? No. I disagree.
Feed on Fear single-handedly won me multiple games.
When you gamble your life with the opponent, they fail the willpower duel you generated. You heal, so it's a 3-4-5 that heals you one if you're in melee with them. That's good.
It's pretty good
on a 6 soulstone model. This man doesn't.
It has armor 1, so it can't be one shot. Unlike Bunraku.
Yeah, exactly.
Bunraku have armor 1.
This is the 6 soulstone puppet we had. That the Bunraku is the version we have at home. Okay.
The 6 soulstone puppet she tells you not to worry about.
I mean, this is how I won the last tournament I played in. Is Mei Feng couldn't kill this model. Like, it just went from 1 HP to 6 HP.
Okay, what? How did it go to 6 HP?
Because of Eat Your Fill.
Okay, well, firstly, can I just say, it is looking back in the direction like it's the one they tell you to worry about, which is great. It's like that meme. Maybe I'll put it on the screen.
I know what you're talking about.
We did it. Except it's the reverse, because this is the one. But, okay, so Bloated Stench gives melee attackers poison after they attack them, unless they kill it, but it seems fine. Right?
It's good.
Does that really need more talking? No. Eat Your Fill, it heals 2 if it kills models with its melee attack. With a melee attack, which Gamble for Your Life is not, so it won't do that.
But Gamble does trigger Feed on Fear.
It does trigger Feed on Fear, you're right, but it doesn't trigger Eat Your Fill. But they also have Fiendish Gamble, so they can, when they would cheat Fate, they can choose a card removed from the game, which is something that we're probably going to get a lot more into in a short minute. But I think rather importantly, these boyos have a really strong attack. They have a 2-3-4 melee, which is pretty good. It has Drink Blood and Rake the Eyes, so that's fine. It's stat 5, not great, but Gamble for Your Life is a stat 6 willpower duel, which has been eroded multiple times now. Currently, and hopefully for the remainder of time, what it does is it is a 3-4-5, but if you fail the duel attacking somebody, you take the damage based on the flips instead. And as a tome trigger, where you draw a card, and if you didn't kill the target, you pitch a card. A 3-4-5
Worth mentioning, I guess, if Turner knows the answer, if you kill yourself, what happens? Is that counted as you killing yourself or the enemy killing you?
You kill yourself.
I think it's the enemy killing you. It says
the enemy, the
defending model taking this action targeting this
action.
Model.
Yeah, it's as if the enemy had been the generator of the gamble.
So don't fuck this one up. Your enemy can score schemes off it.
As though the defending model was taking the action. Yeah, fair enough.
Don't use, if that's what the mopey sharp claws are for, if you're just taking throwaway AP to put some points on a model, don't gamble your life. Punch them instead.
It's also I think it's really important that whenever you use this ability, you have to shout into the air so the whole tournament can hear you that it's time to gamble for your life. Like, it's fine. It's like lip sync for your life. It's the same thing.
I'm not an advocate for for disrupting tournament spaces, but you can do that.
Yeah, you
I mean,
should.
Brandon's giving you permission to do it in Boston. Is all I'm hearing.
I am. Yeah, if you hire only in the puppet crew though, you don't get to do that in Dreamer.
Okay.
Oh shit! I need to actually tangent, but it's about the effigies. When Zoraida 2 was first previewed, any singles of effigies that were available, I ordered them. If they didn't have just the singles, I went ahead and got the 2-packs. So I own all the effigies that are worth playing. So maybe.
I mean, if you are you coming to the tournament?
He's not allowed not to with those flights.
Hammer it down tonight. Did you? Yeah, I don't know if I've linked any other one. It's only $77 to fly there.
Holy shit! Really? Oh my god! Does it work? Does that work both ways? Not strictly speaking that I want to go to Tennessee, but just good to know.
Yeah, you don't want to come here. The nature is pretty, but the politics are not.
I mean, it's closer to the Louisville Mega Caverns, which is my favorite place to go in the South. I don't know. That's what I got.
Moving on.
I'll probably just fly to Louisville. Yeah. If you come and you need these models, I have them all. You can use them unless something crazy happens. So just saying.
Lucid Dream.
Yeah, Lucid Dream. So we'll talk about I guess we'll just talk about this now, right? So Lucid Dream lets you look at the top 3 cards. One is removed from the game. The rest go into your discard pile. You can't target jokers with it, but outside of Fiendish Gamble, when you remove these cards, they're gone forever. There's no way to get them back in this, and there's no Dreamer to tell you to have to put them back in and ruin all your fun. So having a bunch of Lucid Dream in this crew is really, really strong, especially if you have a bunch of Stat 6 and Stat 7 models, or a bunch of models with 2 4/5s that suddenly are just not able to really do low damage because you only have 4 or 5 weak cards left in your deck by the end of the turn 3, right? So very, very strong, very, very hireable. Where are they going is my question. I'm sorry. We tangented before Turner. Tell me about these guys. I mean, you guys kind of already did, but
I mean, it's as you said. So Lucid Dream has got 2 modes. In the early game, where you're not doing any aggressive actions with the Stitched, you're just pulling weaks out of your deck. And then in the mid game, if you're thinking about trying to donk something for 5 damage with Gamble Your Life, you're probably going to Lucid for a Severe. So that way, if you've got the 1 Severe in hand, you're going to cheat to hit. Then you get the free Severe from the Lucid Dream that you can then cheat with Fiendish Gamble to put the hurtin' on something. And that's basically what they do. They're sometimes higher. I think these are just a meat and potatoes. I need to fill out my list with something that's not super easy to kill, but it's just gonna maybe get value by existing and hurting things with Lucid and Gamble.
Fair enough. Landon, what do you think? Stitched?
Yeah, I think you'll take one of these max, because this is usually the thing you want to summon is an important distinction. Mm-hmm. So, if you're summoning anything at all, it's probably Stitched or the rare red cap. So, if you usually would hire one if you're going to hire them, and they're really good in pools where you have to, fight and be places, because they're probably one of the cheapest M3 models in the entire fucking game. But the important part is that you can only ever have 3 of them out. So if you don't want to get to the point where you have the card to summon and you can't summon one.
Yeah.
And everything in your crew drops scrap. So you're always going to have a resource somewhere, unless you're tabling your opponent to make a Stitched.
Then you'll just have to be sad that you don't get to summon more Stitched.
Well, with Widow Weaver around, if the Stitched kills something, she's getting stuffing tokens.
Oh yeah,
so you don't even need scrap.
Yeah, that too.
That is worth noting. Yeah. I mean, you have this model, and then just the rest of the Nightmare crew if you hire any of that. But this is Nightmare as well, so especially in Widow Weaver. So, Haku, you got anything you want to say?
Nah, Landon hit the point I was going to mention. You really can only have 3 of these, so if you're summoning, especially if you're bringing the tree to do Omega summoning arts, then you'll end up being able to have 3 in turn 1. So,
to be clear, the tree in this context is the carnivorous Wyrdwood from Ashes of Malifaux, not the mysterious emissary, who is also a tree.
It's the trick to gaining an extra
strap.
We
have to specify now. Yeah,
the angry orchard.
Oh man, we gotta get a Sam Adams sponsored.
Which is definitely a meme in this list, mostly because you don't really have the card draw in order to, get all.
Well, in the Hinamatsu list, you do, but
that's true. The Hinamatsu version can run it.
You know what? Actually, I will promise this bounty now. Anyone who plays the Carnivorous Weirwood at the Boston GT, I will personally purchase a Sam Adams for at our karaoke night. An Angry Orchard for at our karaoke night.
That model hasn't been released yet.
The open bar karaoke night?
It hasn't. Yeah. Okay, calm down, Haku. You didn't have to ruin all my fun. I can buy them still. They'll be like, hey, I'd like to pay for this drink. All right, fine. Yes, the open bar karaoke night. Jeez. Fine. I have one last thing to. Where are we putting these guys? Are we putting them in like auto hire one, and then?
I think I would auto hire one in the Widow Weaver one, and sometimes hire it in the Hinamatsu one.
Turner, how do you feel about that? I think that seems pretty reasonable, but.
Yeah, I think you just take the one.
Yeah, definitely just as a one of, because for previous matches. Also, I just have to say, this was supposed to be Haku's thing because he's the one who pointed out who permanently ruined the
White Eyes.
I thought you did.
No, you definitely.
It was definitely you, Haku.
Okay.
But this specific model of Stitched also has a great face elbow, although this time it's actually just a skeleton poking through, like a skull poking through his Oogie Boogie elbow.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk the other reasonably summonable puppet sometimes, Red Caps. They're from the Neverborn starter. They are defense 5, willpower 4. They got 5 health, armor 1, which isn't super great. They do get they have Bloody Cloth, so when they declare triggers, they can lose shielded by 1 to get a plus ram, which will become relevant in a minute. After a friendly Grim, including themselves, ends a model within 6. It gains shielded for every enemy model that it damaged, so they're maybe a little bit more survivable if they're being killy, and they get rushed, so their movement 5 or 6 if you're near Vasilisa becomes 7 or 8. They have a stat 5 attack that does 1, 2, 3, and if the target is engaged by another friendly model, which it often will be, they get a shielded there, which they can they won't be able to spend on the first attack for crit strike, but they can, if they attack multiple times, do it then. And they have crit strike, which is a pretty good trigger. But I think the main reason that you want to be summoning these guys is Trail of Gore, because it lets you just blip an enemy ski marker within 3 inches, and you get a free walker melee. Turner.
It's a summon. So I play Widow Weaver a lot with Zareta because Zareta always makes the scrap for the summoning and does the hand cycle thing, so you're far more likely to just find the card to do it without having to stone. I've summoned a red cap exactly once. I then bonus action to make a web that I then threw the red cap to using Into the Dream Web, so the red cap could go back into my deployment zone and stop breakthrough. It was amazing. But I think that's like the only time you'll summon them to stop an opposing scoring, and it'll be like a cute anecdote, and other than that, you're not summoning them unless you just have the card to do it and you've summoned all 3 stitched.
Sure.
Then
I mean,
maybe.
I think removing a ski marker here and there is potentially very worth it. But Landon, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't think you're ever hiring this model. It's a summon.
Yeah, for sure. There's no question.
But yeah, denying points is denying points. You'll do it when it makes sense.
Yeah. Haku?
Yep.
Wild. Now, let's talk the best model that has ever been. Probably not, but Wicked Dolls, they're pretty good. Wicked Dolls are 3 points.
Barking?
Yeah.
Why are
the best model? Obviously, it's Corrupted Hounds. Are you kidding me?
We don't know.
I
am kidding you. But no. So these guys have their stealth. They have accomplice. If enemy models that start their activation with staggered, which they will presumably get from Vasilisa, start their activation, they'll take a damage, which probably isn't going to be relevant because if they're within 3 inches of the Wicked Doll, it's 3 health with no armor and it's stat 4, so it's probably dead. But if somehow it manages to not be, that's a thing. It has Vasilisa's same melee attack, although it's stat 5 instead of 7, and with less good triggers, grab on and stagger. It has Threaten, which I'm kind of sad thinking about in general because you can't use it on Pandora 2 anymore, and then Creep Along, so sometimes it gets an extra movement AP. But for 3 stones, they're not a bad Ancient Pact target. What do you think, Turner? Are you ever hiring these guys?
I hired them, but I will not put Ancient Pact on them.
Ooh. Okay.
They are far too easy to kill, and this thing at 5 soul stones is like, and you losing your Ancient Pact when it dies is like when if you just hired it for 3 soul stones and it drops a couple scheme markers and maybe does half of a scoring, does some scoring, then eats it. That's whatever. But if I lose my AP on it because they're like, oh, I'm gonna bop it for 3, I'm sad.
Yeah, fair enough.
Also, when you put the AP on it, it really incentivizes your opponent to kill it.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Landon, what do you think?
I'm not really a huge fan of the Wicked Doll hires. Like, I get why people do it. I don't think you would ever do it in Widow Weaver for certain. I think it's a never hire. In Hinamatsu, I don't really like it, so I'd still probably call it a never hire. But like, I don't know. For one more point, the effigies are slower, but they're a lot more difficult to remove. So I feel like I'm probably either hiring something that's better at scheming if I need a schemer, or it's just the wrong time for it. Maybe like the very bottom of some matchups, because like sometimes you just want that shitty model to threaten outflank, or power ritual.
Yeah.
But I feel like you can usually do better. I don't know.
Haku, any other bits?
I'm in the exact same opinion. I hate putting Ancient Pact on it. I can quasi see it to summon to turn to scrap to go get things.
Yeah, it is just the cheapest scrap that you can hire.
But... especially as we've already remarked, your totem is kind of crap, so you can probably kill that for the scrap instead of spending the extra soul stones.
Yeah, but it's a lot harder. So what do we want to even put it in just top and ever higher? I don't know. I could put it at the bottom of some matchups and some. What do we think?
I like it a little bit more than Landon, but I think the points are generally tight. And like he said, if I've got the margin for it, I'm taking the Intrepid over that.
Yeah. Okay. And putting it above Brutal Emissary. Effigy.
Fair.
Yeah. All right. That's it for the actual true puppet stuff. So if you want to screenshot this here, I think this is fine. You don't necessarily to have other things to play this thing, because like we're already talking a bunch of stuff, but let's hear me out. So the rest of the next couple models are literally only hireable in Hinamatsu. You're not allowed to hire any of them in Widow Weaver because it doesn't work that way, except for Lady Yume you can hire in Widow Weaver because they share Nightmare. But Bill Algren I think is I always call Bill Algren the best henchman in Neverborn. Because it's kind of true. He's real fucking good, y'all. I think I'm gonna put him here unless I'm really, really talked out of it. But he's 9 points. He shares a keyword with Hinamatsu. He's got bodyguards who gives everyone near him cover. He's got leverage. He's ruthless. When the opposing player reveals a scheme, he heals 3 and gains fast. So if they get one scheme, if they get their 2 schemes revealed in different turns, he'll get that twice, which is fucking crazy.
Yep.
He's got a 3/4/4 that pushes with crit strike and you're coming with me, which you can do cute push, hit, smack somebody, enemy or not, if friendly, and then push them 5 inches and place Bill in contact with them. He's got challenge. He's got Stoic Nod, so he can heal friendly models. They can galvanize them with focus, and he has Heroic Intervention with Debt of Gratitude, which is insane. All of these things are insane. This is the best model of this fucking faction, even though it's not in this faction. Maybe Coryphee Duet's better, but Turner. Am I crazy? Am I overvaluing Bill?
Always higher, Grin.
Yeah.
If you are overvaluing him, it's just by a little bit, and he is, like, how he is built is so far removed from the way the rest of purple is set up that what he is bringing is totally unique to the faction. You really can't get it inside the faction. Also, he's a good ruthless model, which is not something that purple has, and people are gonna be like, oh, but about the rider, and I'm like, well, I don't think the 11 soulstone model that has 9 wounds is a good model that doesn't have a gun.
Back up for a minute here, as my privilege of always being able to hire Bill Algren perhaps has blinded me a bit to what you mean when you say he's built different than the rest of the faction. What is it that Bill offers you? I like Bill a lot as a model, but what is it that he offers you that you're not getting in Neverborn?
He's armor 1 soulstone unit that self heals.
He does not. I guess he technically self-heals if we're going to call the opposing player revealing a scheme self-healing, but that doesn't usually work out in the play pattern.
You mean to tell me in all the games of Bill Algren that your opponent has never revealed a scheme before he's died?
So I've never had them reveal a scheme before he's died when he was wounded. So like, it never is an exaggeration. I think I've maybe healed 8 points of health collectively off of this ability. I've gotten a lot more fast than that, but as far as the healing goes, probably 8 points of health. Most people are smart enough to realize that you either kill Bill before you reveal your scheme, or you don't bother hurting Bill until you've revealed your scheme. And that's kind of like the mini game you play when Bill's on the table. But like, you don't just take random speculative attacks knowing that you're going to heal him 3 at the end of the turn. You just don't do that.
So him being ignored that's tanky right there. He's a min 3 model that's not getting punched.
Sure.
Yeah, I think the versatility of the fact that you can hire a model that fundamentally changes how your opponent plays the game is argument enough. Yeah. But also, you should probably, in fact, I think I need to change him to never hire, because joke's on you, Landon, I'll just never reveal my schemes.
Yeah, exactly.
So your opponent just plays 4.
But also you have the Mature Nephilim, who's a self-healing min 3 model at a very not dissimilar points cost in keyword. Out of keyword, I'll agree with you, 11 points is a bit much, but like...
Yeah, 9 is less than 10, and it's less than 11.
I could argue, if I really wanted to be in bad faith here, that the Cyclops is a self-healing min 3 beater, but...
Yeah,
stop it.
Also, this man can be min 5. Pretty... I mean, I feel like people play around Debt of Gratitude far more than they used to, just because Ezekiel exists, and that drew a lot of attention to the ability...
to the trigger that nobody knew was on cards before, because nobody played Molly for like 2 whole gaining grounds. Yeah,
but nothing is going to stand next to like the Mysterious.
I think the gaining grounds currently just encourages vomiting out scheme markers anyways, so Debt of Gratitude's contextually slightly less useful.
Or is it more useful? Because again, having it warps how your opponent is going to play the game.
No, not really.
I'm a huge fan of. I think it is.
So he can hit severe or min 6 pretty reliably with Debt of Gratitude and Critical Strike, and then
if we're spending 2 stones on every attack. But sure.
Yeah,
and then taking reductions twice.
A Mature isn't doing that. A Mature doesn't have the ability to do it.
Mature has the ability to do a severe of 6.
Well, this man can do severe higher than that if you have the RAM to cheat and the stones.
Yeah, it's about potential, not about
sure.
It's not about throttling the gas full floor all the time. You know?
Please understand, I got to do my psyop.
Yeah, we get it. You just don't want anyone else to hire Bill Algren. I get it.
It's like the purple player is talking up Bill. The orange player has to be like, whoa, no, stop. Stop, no.
Yeah, I'll say, Haku, do you have anything else to say? Because if we say like 2 more words on Bill, they're gonna nerf him. So.
Well, actually, I haven't told you why Bill's good yet.
Those are my 2 more words.
Because we didn't talk about the fact that Bill has You're Coming With Me as min 3, which is normally like, why would I hit my own models with a min 3 model? But you're playing the Armor 2 keyword, kind of like we already talked about with, Widow Weaver. You might not have Widow Weaver to move your guys up the board here. So with Bill, you might be hitting them and getting You're Coming With Me to get a bunch of free movement for both Bill and whatever you're hitting. This is good. This is desirable.
Yeah, that definitely helps with Vasilisa's min or engagement of 0, and it combos with the tree, just not the You're Coming With Me, but the built-in push.
Mm-hmm.
Because if there's a hungry land there, you're pushing them in the hazardous. Nice min 4.
He technically can heal. I don't know that you're ever healing in Puppet when you have like Vasilisa do that a million times better. But hey, sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
And also for clarity, we're talking about the emissary when we say the tree this time, not the Cornelius Weirdwood.
Not the Angry Orchard.
Not the Angry Orchard.
And he has Galvanize to pass out focus.
You're never doing that.
Yeah, dude. This guy does everything. Always hire him in Hinamatsu crew. End of discussion.
I always hire.
If only you could do it the other way and hire all of these models in 10 Thunders and then get better upgrades, but it's fine. Well, actually, that's not true. The 10 Thunders upgrades are garbage. They're
absolute garbage.
Yeah. So Bill, check. Sen. This is certainly a lady that I have definitely played.
I like this model. Not here. Never.
It's coming out. It's coming out soon. I mean, I don't, she's got good stuff. Like reading the room is good. Reading the deck is good.
Not
Serene Countenance is good. If you have 7 Soul Stones somehow, then you've done your math wrong because you're hiring 12 Stones of Coryphee, 9 Stones of Bill, 6
and 8
stones
of Vasilisa.
8 Stones of Vasilisa. So although I think Sen is very good, and I agree, I don't think that there's a place as well. Turner, do you disagree?
Hold on, I'm reading the card.
Okay.
What you should be doing is reading the room.
Oh, zing.
But Tish, yeah, wow. I've never seen this model, so I don't have a strong opinion. Well, I'm going to disagree with Landon. I think you always hire it. That's it. Just because, to be contrary, I don't know what it does.
Yeah, I mean, I will say it definitely isn't in any of the like 5 lists that have showed up in the group chat for this call while we've been talking. So clearly it's high priority. But no, I mean, like it has solid abilities. Sharp Wit is good. Beckoning Call is really good. This Song's All About You is very good. Aces and Eights is good. It's just generally solid. But I just don't think you have the points. I'm going to put her at like above the red caps for sure. In a similar vein, we have Koto, who also I think is a solid model. I'm so mad that this doesn't have puppet really, because it is just the same. Like it is a puppet. It literally is one.
I'm also quite upset about this from a flavor perspective.
The 4 arms.
And like I would settle for. I get that they don't want to have models have more than 2 keywords as a templating premise, but 1, that's stupid. And 2. I would be fine with having an ability on the front of his card, which you could easily do, that just says this model counts as a puppet for actions and abilities, which wouldn't do anything outside of flavor, I guess, but it would be for because you can already hire it in Hinamatsu. I guess the literal only change is you could then hire it in Widow Weaver.
Well, right now it doesn't project the Vasilisa aura of Stagger.
And it doesn't project a Vasilisa aura. But he's generally a very good 6-class model. Armor 2, Rig the Deck 2, which is super strong. He also has Reading the Room. Drain Life is his attack with Kabong. That's so funny. Pluck the Strings. They're all. It's a good model. I just don't think you're ever going to have the stones to hire it really.
Yeah, it's got no puppet synergy.
And it's got no synergy, just like Sen. Because it's fine that dual keyword models that are only like an 8th puppet on their mother's side.
Look, this guy is born and bred puppet through and through. It's just he was adopted, and he never knew his dad.
Yeah, he was adopted by a nice Asian family, and he's just never gotten in touch with his puppet roots. That's fine, man. Look, he'll embrace his culture when he's ready to, and when he's ready, we'll be there to embrace him, assuming that he learns some puppet synergy.
Well, the only thing I'm seeing looking at his card is Good Luck Charms, because shielded on top of Armor 2 is disgusting, but to get there, you have to hit the ram trigger on Nervous Energy to give them the token in the first place, and the only Kian Gong model puppet you have is Hinamatsu. So yeah. He really only sort of has synergy with Hinamatsu and Bill, which, given your hiring in every Hinamatsu crew, but I don't know. The next Haku, do you have anything to say about either of these models? I guess
not particularly. I'll just
if I will interject, there is one minor synergy you'll do with either Koto or Sen. They both do this. Is that you'll generate favor tokens to fuel plus flips for Hinamatsu's lore.
Yeah, that's fair. Let's talk Shojo.
No.
Again, no. Even the redeeming features of this model are a thing in some cases, but not in this crew, and there's no synergy, and you shouldn't do this. Because again, she's only, a 16th puppet on her dad's cousin's twice removed side. So
if I wanted Shojo, I'd be playing Pandora.
Sure. Yeah. No, but sure. What? Why? Huh?
Because I'm doing willpower boring convo shenanigans.
Oh yeah, but you can't take her in Pandora. All right. Fair enough.
No, you would take Dorian Crow, who's the analog. It's whatever.
Oh yeah, sure. Okay, fair enough. I like Dorian Crow. He's great. Sorry, I had to cough. Let's talk about the actual next model that is a thing. Oh no, I'm sorry. My mistake. It's Kabuki Warrior. So
Can I sell you a bridge?
Yeah, Landon's gonna try and sell us a bridge in a moment, but I guess because he's trying, we'll talk about this 8-stone minion. So he has leverage, which is great. He has distraction, which is a negative willpower aura. 2 inches is pretty good. I've had some people do some weird McCabe Kabuki Warrior nonsense to me. Mostly, I think just John Ghoulborn, but and they have combat finesse, which is fine and important considering their defense and willpower 5. Great sword. It's a 3/4/5 that gets plus flips. They have lure, which is good, and he can target a ski marker and move it. Woo. Turner, do you think you would ever hire this model?
No.
Wild. Landon, do you want to sell me a bridge now?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's 2 reasons why I think this model actually might be more playable in Puppet than it is in Qiangong.
Okay. That's a wild bridge.
I'm not even joking in any regard when I say that, by the way. So firstly,
the floor is low. So
firstly, we're going to note that this man's defenses have nothing to do with armor. And sometimes you're just going to, if you're playing Puppet, you're probably playing Puppet all day and saying, fuck it, right? And sometimes you're just going to hit the wrong matchup for Puppet, and you're going to need models that don't rely on armor to survive.
Okay.
This model fits that criteria to some
already
regard.
have decided that or not.
Sure, I'm just saying if I hit like McCabe or Levy, like, then I can decide to hire Kabukis instead of a bunch of armored puppets, right?
Or Hoffman. That's a good, nice peacekeeper that ignores armor. He can't cheat against my Kabuki Warrior.
And I think outside of a couple specific scenarios, most of the models they're going to be taking to ignore your armor are melee models. So combat finesse, honestly, is kind of a pretty decent pivot there.
Oh, that's, Leviticus. Hello. That's...
I am unmoved, but please go on.
So going on, then we have distraction, which synergizes with our stitch together as far as being able to just put people on neg flips so you can save their, severes for damage rather than having to cheat it to guarantee the hit.
Sure.
Which is just pretty spicy. And then past that, they're just 2-inch reach or minor, what do you call it? Anti-scheme potential. The New Horizon doesn't come up often, but when it does, it denies points, and that's cool. But mostly the argument is that A, it synergizes with your stitch, which is a little nice bonus, and B, it allows you to pivot into counter defensive tech when you're going down the rabbit hole of, oh fuck, that's McCabe.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I guess we haven't addressed what happens when you go up against McCabe, and I guess the answer is just be sad, but...
The answer is not be sad if you declare the Hinamatsu crew.
Because you can hire Kabuki Warriors to not be sad. How many points are we spending on Kabuki Warriors?
Oh, just 8. We're not going crazy here. We're probably hiring a Kabuki and a Charm.
All right. Haku?
I think there's some match.
I love this meme. I legitimately love this meme. It's great.
God damn it. Turner, please. For the love of God.
I bought a second bridge. I'm bringing 2.
No.
No. Because distraction also works for Widow Weaver's Terrifying. Hello.
No, stop. Okay, I'm putting it below Brutal Effigy, and I think
it's better than Brutal Effigy.
I won't be argued above that. There's no way.
You're using that dazzling flourish action because they're on next to resist. They're slow now, engaged by the Kabuki that they can't cheat against. Yes. I've built a gatehouse at the other end of the bridge.
Yeah. I just can't.
Another successful sale.
I own these too, so.
Yeah, I bought them for the Hinamatsu. To be fair, the only reason I own any Yoko models at all is because I bought them because they're theoretically fieldable in Neverborn for the Hinamatsu crew.
I think you guys are proving my point. I, as the orange player, don't own Kabuki Warriors. You, as the purple players, both do.
Landon's just like the New York bridge guy who sold the Manhattan Bridge. He doesn't even own the bridge, and he's selling it.
This is the worst. I hate this so much.
I'm a completionist, so
oh my god,
with Lynch and 2E, so that's why I'm even purple now. I own half of the faction, so of orange, that is.
Yeah. Oh boy, oh boy, I need a minute for that. But let's talk about a model that I guess an orange model that I guess I would hire. So Charm Warders. So Charm Warders are a tech pick for sure. but they are 7 stones. They have Enlighten, so they can take chi when they focus. They have Harness Chi, so they can use Chi tokens. They get leverage. Barrier to the Otherworld is after an enemy model is summoned within 5, it suffers 2 damage, which is probably not relevant because they could just summon it not within 5.
Only works against Karai.
Yeah, it's if your opponent's playing Karai, you fucking hire this model that beats her. And then they have Lantern of Souls, which is really good and something that you don't have access to in Neverborn outside of that. I think, right? It's not. I'm pretty sure
you don't have Lantern.
You have similar-ish things, but
nope.
Yeah, it doesn't no.
Nope.
You can ignore healing and you can execute things, but I think that's your best bets here.
Oh, sure. All right. Well, yeah. I mean, if you need to ignore demise abilities, that is a thing, which is a thing, right? Especially again at Rezzers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Their melee attack has Exorcism, which is on a Crow they just kill a summon model, which is really strong. They have Jinx, which is like a 1/2/3 injured on a 10-inch stat 6 willpower, which is pretty good. Shady Dealings isn't bad. Discarding random cards if they haven't revealed their schemes, especially in a place where they're hiring Bill and don't want to, is really, really good. And then their bonus action's weird. Turner?
Charm Warders are amazing 7 Soulstone minions.
Yeah.
These are really good.
I don't think that you have to sell us a bridge on this, Landon, but...
So I'm in 2 worlds here. Either you all auto-include it because you're only playing the Hinamatsu crew because you wanted a Charm Warder over the Widow Weaver, or you sometimes include it because you don't believe in the Widow Weaver and you're going to play the Hinamatsu crew either way.
Interesting.
Either way, I think if you're playing this model, you probably also want one of your take-the-hit options of either the Grown-Up Effigy or the Mannequin, because you don't usually have enough chi to have more than defense 5 and also land your relevant attacks of either Jinx or Chi-Blade.
Yeah.
Keep in mind it's a squishy dude.
It is, yeah. They only have 7 health with no defensive tech.
Except the Chi.
Defense 5. Oh, except for Chi. So there's stat 7 sometimes.
But they're pretty good.
Yeah. Are we okay? Haku, do you have anything you want to ward against us? Charming?
No. 4 damage from literally anywhere on the map is pretty OP.
Yeah, that's what always happens with Chaos Theory when you hit the trigger. Every time.
I mean, I've played against you multiple times, and it definitely feels that way.
Wild. Yeah, I mean, I guess if you get lucky, we did it. Are we okay with it being in between Mannequin and Thingy? Do you want it up, down, left, right? Up?
As I said, I'll let Turner decide whether this is supposed to be auto-include or some matchups. I could see you rationalizing it either way.
Yeah, I'm more on the some matchups train because I'm viewing it as a tech piece for the things that purple doesn't have.
I think that's fair.
Well, speaking of things purple doesn't have, let's talk tools for the job. This next lady...
Hey, we have lawyers.
No,
sometimes.
That's not true. This is Kunoichi. They are a 6 Soulstone minion that have Disguised, Bulletproof, Tools for the Job, I guess Nihilism, they can ignore conditions sometimes, and Leverage. They are not super defensive outside of Disguised and Bulletproof against guns, but like defense 5, 6 health on a 6 stone minion, it's like, okay. They are, however, they got a Shuriken. That's like low damage, but it lets you move yourself when you shoot people, which is pretty strong. They can galvanize people that they Shuriken near, and I've got your back, which is a solid bonus action, and it gets even better because it has preparation. Their weapon's like fine. It has no witnesses that you're never going to trigger ever.
It's also stat 6 for a 6 stone minion, which is like actually pretty above curve.
True. And I think I think in general they're pretty good, and I really like Tools for the Job. I don't know if you have the stones to hire this, but I really like it. Turner, what do you think?
I think if I'm hiring this, it's because I've pivoted away from the puppet stuff and am playing some sort of silly meme where I'm also hiring a lot of out of keyword stuff, and I'm just using this thing like to put Ancient Pact on it. So it's an Ancient Pact tool for the job model. So when it ends its activation, I've drawn an extra card plus tools for a different card, and frequently I'll also have thrown shurikens at something that I don't care about and stacked to focus on something I do care about. That's then gonna go murder something. So I think it's a sometimes higher, and I've got your back even without a trigger on it. It's just an amazing ability. So yeah, this thing's got a lot of utility, but I don't know that I'm always hiring it.
Landon.
I doubt
I mean,
it.
I like these things a lot just on principle of having played them a lot in my home faction. And I have to say, I probably would always take at least one of these and throw a pact on it if I was playing the Hinamatsu crew. Like, it's a really efficient support package, and I feel like you usually want 1 or 2 ancient packs in most Neverborn crews. And this is just, I think, of the minions we've gone over, the best model to have it.
Yeah. Yep. Fair enough. Haku, what do you think?
Yeah. I mean, all the same points. Honestly, I don't have much to add on that.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, so I guess then the question is, what do we? Do you think?
I think it's an auto include, and I'm going to tell you that it kills masters with that no witness trigger sometimes late in the game. So like, just believe in that happening.
It literally does not. I was going to hear.
It literally does. I've done it.
No.
I have killed Zip twice with this thing.
Okay, no, that's Landon killing a master, not a Kunoichi killing a master. That's different.
Why didn't Zip just fly away?
Why didn't he? Maybe
he
he
didn't respect the Kunoichi.
I'll put it. I'm just gonna put it above Charm Order. Does that seem reasonable?
I think Charm Order is probably more often going to show up based on the fact that it's tech pick, but I think this thing is usually going to show up in most crews. I don't know.
Right, what are you using the focus?
Duet.
That's fair.
I mean, Duet, Vasilisa, maybe Hinamatsu. I don't know.
Vasilisa's another good one.
Yeah.
Ooh, it also fixes for Vasilisa. Okay, I'm jumping on. If I'm playing the Hinamatsu crew, I'm going to take one of these because it fixes a lot.
They're really fucking good.
Yeah,
and it also lets you find your summon card for Vasilisa,
and the fact that you can tools for the job, the mask to just put focus on people twice is just
that's
the disgusting and damage down
part.
Range, and you can move it a bit.
Like
it gets a whole free AP out of shooting twice. It ignores concealment. All right. Look, I don't know you're going to hire more than one. I mean, they're called Kunoichi, right? But no.
No, I agree. You're probably taking one. You don't have the points for 2.
Is it not Kunoichi?
It's Kunoichi.
I mean, sure, but I was making a cool, fun pun. That's great, and we didn't need to get into Japanese fucking diphthong pronunciation.
Listen, I'm the one from Tennessee. It's the K-Uno Ichi. You got it?
Yeah. All right.
Ichi. It's the K-Uno Ichi.
Okay, I'm sorry. So it's the K-Uno Ichi.
There you go. Okay. If you're only going to take one.
Look, if I'm gonna do puns out of names, it's gonna be that. Okay. Lastly, we have the Geisha. Don't hire this. It's bad.
Yeah.
He beat us to it.
Yeah, 4 health, 4 cost, 4 defense, leverage, distraction. If you really want the distraction, or I guess you could do it with this, but probably don't because it's just going to get instantly obliterated by anything as an defensive deck.
It's a 4-point lore, but we already had someone put a gun to our head and tell us to include it in the crew.
That's true.
A 4-point lore.
Yeah. We did, but we don't need to do it twice, so we did it. Now we're going to talk about the Nightmare models, and then we'll do a brief wrap up, and because I know this is already getting long, but let's talk the best henchman in Neverborn, Bill Algren, because I don't want to talk about Carver. He's bad.
Yeah,
it's weird because they're so similarly templated in a lot of ways. Like they have like the crit strike stat, like high stat melee attack that does like not a traditional damage thing. They both have actions and are ruthless.
I mean, we can just keep saying never hire.
They both remove scheme markers.
I think I'm Gucci.
They both have severe 4.
They both technically have severe 4 sometimes.
But only one of them removes focus.
That's true.
And so, based on the same reasons that I sold you, the fucking bridge of the the Hinamatsu crew that you wanted.
I'm sorry. Hold on. No. He has Feed
this?
on Fear. He has to be higher than this. Every time I've said Feed on Fear is fucking irrelevant.
Unironically, I'm throwing him into some matchups for Widow Weaver. You can never hire him in Hinamatsu because you already have the other guy for it. But removing focus off of McCabe, I don't know if you guys have played a lot of McCabe, but it's really good, especially when you don't have to make a flip for it. And Hinamatsu, and McCabe is, once again, a really shitty matchup for your keyword. You want to be able to fuck with McCabe.
And this man has no defensive tech to be ignored.
Except Terrifying, which McCabe on his Willpower 5 will not enjoy.
I mean,
I sold this bridge in the Pandora episode, and I will continue to stock this ware.
No, he's coming
and I
with
will
Hinamatsu.
continue to not see this model be hired.
He's coming with Hinamatsu because now his willpower or his terrifying 11 is even better because there's 2 Kunoichi or
2 Kabuki Warriors.
2 Kabuki Warrior distraction warriors.
Yeah, all 26 of these soul stones that we spent to make this happen from 2 Kabuki Warriors. Oh, sorry, 27 because he's out of keyword for it.
I'm sold.
As I said, I don't think you put it in Hinamatsu, but I think for shoring up that particular matchup, you can take it in Widow Weaver and not feel bad.
Can take it and not feel bad in literally one matchup. I think
in literally one important matchup.
No one plays McCabe.
You'll feel
you're right. McCabe's completely irrelevant to the meta right now.
You'll feel good about it because you have the really sick Carver iconic.
Bro, can I just say?
That model's fucking awesome.
Dude, he is fucking ripped. If you want a ripped, jacked ass model, that's the way to go. I think they made him too sexy. Let's talk about Teddy. What? He's really good. Look at him. Look at the model. He's good. I'll put a picture up on the screen. I think I did that. I think I did this exact same thing in the Pandora episode.
Yeah. If you see Brandon on Halloween, take your jack-o'-lanterns inside.
Never hire on Teddy. Do we need to talk about how the only good thing he does is eat your own model?
Yeah, the best thing Teddy does is he kills your own model. You're not hiring him. We did it.
No, I really like.
I don't know.
Teddy.
Summoning 2 of them with a 13 and a red Joker is pretty
Wrong
good.
edition.
Oh shit. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, talk to us when that comes back in 4th ed. But no, Carver, do you actually want to talk about Teddy Turner? I will if you want to.
I mean, he does have that magical severe 6, but he's not the severe 6 you'd be hiring.
He's the severe 6 we have at home.
Yeah, he's got a big pile of rules that
make Teddy a puppet and we can talk again.
Yeah, if he projected that
why isn't this model a puppet?
Yeah,
it literally is.
Well, it's literally not though, right? He's a nightmare construct. He's a stuffed doll. It's not really a puppet. Who puppets stuffed dolls?
What? Okay, right, yeah. Because Stitched Together is not just a nightmare construct. That's
Wicked dolls.
Wicked dolls, not just a...
Yeah, but I mean, okay. Realistically, though, this is a teddy bear, so it is actually not a puppet.
Literally is a puppet.
No, it's a stuffed toy. It's It's no wires or mechanics or bones or anything.
Get in the comments, guys. Make Teddy and Marlena Webster both puppets.
Are teeth bones? He has teeth.
Oh yeah, he's also a construct, so he's definitely filled with metal.
Yeah, like puppets. Okay.
He's got you can't see it in the art, but he does have a metal plate on his leg, and I think his talons are supposed.
I just don't understand why his defense 4. They could have made this guy like a 5/6, and he still wouldn't be played.
Look, I don't necessarily know that that's correct, but this is the wrong place to have that conversation.
Yeah, these are stats from the before time, not the
long ago
post Damien 2 era. It's a true. So Delirium. This is a new guy. He doesn't really have any synergy with the crew, but he does stuff. He's a 9-stone enforcer. If you don't have the stones for 6 stone other things, you're not going to hire this guy, but he is technically in the nightmare keyword, so he's there. He does have lucid dream again, but I don't think we're ever going to hire him. Do we need to talk more about him?
I can see taking him for glimpse.
Yeah. I mean, sure. Yeah, he has a good willpower attack with Glimpse the Void, which gets even better when you're hiring 5 Kabuki Warriors and a handful of Kunoichi. But
unfortunately, they're difficult to cross-populate.
I think you take him versus Reva, and that's it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah. Opportunist Adversary is pretty good. Terrifying is really good. Incorporeal is really good. Misery. There's stuff. But I will put him at right below Carver. Only below Carver because of the abs. And Coppelius.
Nope.
I want to make an argument for Coppelius. I like him. He's cool. I built mine with a clarinet because he looks like Squidward. I literally ordered a clarinet off of eBay.
I'll hear you out when we talk Dreamer, but not here.
Great. Similar note, the other orange model that I forgot to not put with the orange models, Lady Yume. I can't imagine that we're going to talk about Lady Yume.
No.
I don't intend to.
There's no world that you could ever hire this model. It's too expensive. She doesn't do anything. She literally, I don't think I've ever hired this model outside of Dreamer 1 ever. Serena Bowman. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I've never played Asami, so we did it. Serena Bowman, I will actually like read and talk about. So she's Speed on Fear, Disguised, and Demise Eternal, which is pretty good. She's got 6 health, which is really low for an 8-stone model. And she's been eroded, I think, twice. I might be wrong. Maybe it's
no, just once, and it was pretty heavy, but she's still really good.
Yeah, she's got 5 on defenses, but she's Horrific Reality, which lets her draw line of sight and range from friendly nightmare models with an 8. So Widow
just
Weaver,
for her melee.
Just for her melee, yeah. So Widow Weaver, the Stitch Together, which you're definitely taking. If you take Carver, her stock goes up slightly. She has Twist Reality, which is very strong in particular circumstances. It's a 2/3/4 that ignores armor and incorporeal, and you can fight it against willpower or defense, whichever is lower. So that's really strong. It has Hole in the World, which is also super, super strong. But again, she's an enforcer, so you're not like stoning for it. So you just got to have the high tome. And then Bottle of Painkillers is really, really important in certain matchups. It heals, ends a condition, and you have quick reflexes to do it to somebody else on a 4 or higher masks. Yeah. Turner, do you have anything else you want to add about her?
I think you occasionally take her if you want the really durable body she brings, plus the heal and condition removal, but she's not an always higher.
Yeah. I think I'm going to put her above Wicked Doll, unless Landon wants to talk me down or up.
I think she's worse than Wicked Doll, but maybe she's better than Wicked Doll. I don't know.
They do really different things.
They do really different things.
Yeah.
But I
Just
think more often I'm finding room for the Wicked Doll to fill out points than I am reaching for the 8-stone Serena Bowman when Vasilisa is already normally taking care of my healing needs.
That's true. Yeah, Vasilisa does do a lot of the healing. She just doesn't do the condition removal.
But like Twist Reality's good. You said like 6 wounds 7 times, but she really has 10 wounds unless your opponent ignores Demise Eternal.
Well, 9.
And it's even more than 10 because it 5, triggers right? on different turns.
You heal 4.
Yeah.
It's once per turn. It's an extra 4 wounds every turn. It's nuts.
Yeah, at the cost of a card, which you don't really have a lot of card draw in this group, but you can if you hire 3 Kunoichi. We did it. Oh, sorry, that's Widow Weaver. You can't do that. Never mind.
I mean, she's versatile. You still could.
No tools. Oh, yeah. You
just
could.
in the other list.
Just in the other list. No tools for the job for you. Let's talk Bandersnatch. I've never once hired this model.
No.
This is a Marcus model.
We did it.
Yep.
Yeah, this is technically a Neverborn beast. You're not wrong. I'm going to put him at the actual bottom. Insidious Madnesses have a lot going for them. Not in this fucking crew. I don't know. Am I crazy? They're just...
This feels like an oops, I didn't want to actually play puppets model that you play after you hire Duet and then no puppets.
And maybe if you're just trying to like really like work on the trauma that having to build this model caused you, you might want to hire them just for like...
These weren't so bad to put
No,
together.
They're literally the worst models in the entire game to build.
Have you built Iron Skeeters?
Yes, I have. I would rather build those than this because with Iron Skeeters have like a biology to them that you can understand where parts go. On these, especially the bigger ones, there's like 17 unconnected parts that have no identifiable reality.
You mean to tell me you
I
don't
think I'm
have
hiring
an arm
this
coming out of your
more than
mouth?
the Brutal Effigy though to bring us back.
Yeah, you hire this more than the Brutal Effigy.
Yeah, because I feel like this is a relatively valuable pivot option for like, oops, McCabe showed up for the Widow Weaver side of it, in the same way that I felt the Kabuki Warrior is valuable for the Hinamatsu side.
Yeah, that you're thinking you're just going to go Widow Weaver Nightmare Good stuff?
Yeah, like rather than leaning into the puppet.
Yeah.
Because you're still getting a reasonable Lucid Dream model, one that's also like incredibly resilient to McCabe's bullshit because his ram trigger fails to function in any meaningful way. And, then he's going to have to hit you through a bunch of terrifying, and you can strip focus off him. He's probably the actual answer to that matchup rather than Carver. But, like, for the same reasons I thought Carver was good, I think this model is good.
Yeah. I think that this is specific to teal McCabe, though, because orange McCabe has access to a ton of Ruthless and things that ignore incorporeal.
I don't know it's a ton of things that ignore incorporeal. It's like Charm Warder, and that's it.
What about the Bowman?
The monks,
we don't talk about that model. No one hires that model.
Okay, I've got a bridge. I need to sell you.
Holy shit! What, Landon?
Don't sell me that bridge. Thunder Archers are dog shit.
I don't know. Okay, all right. This is not the episode for that, but
yeah. This thing, nope. Just eat those next 2 models in the bin because we're not hiring.
No. What? You're not going to hire?
No, I agree.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, fine. I'll talk. Fine. Look. Okay. Delirious Thrall has that cool mirror thing. It's totally a thing.
It's a summon. It's not a hire, and you can't summon it here. Alps, you do not have a way to trigger their placement thing unless you're throwing them with Widow Weaver, but that's just straight bad.
I mean, you could throw them with Widow Weaver. You could also hole in the world with them with Hinamatsu. You could push them around with Bill, which won't trigger.
So 3 Daydreams
we'll kill them.
Hired Lucid Dreams good for 3 points?
Yep, Daydreams. That's an auto include with Widow Weaver. We're hiring this thing. 2 of them, in fact.
Are you ever kitting them out with Ancient Pact, or are you not for the same reason? Oh,
that is the first. When I pick Widow Weaver here, the thing that goes in the list after the duet is a pair of Daydreams that have Ancient Pact stapled to their foreheads.
Yeah. I mean, so Daydream as a model doesn't really do a whole lot. They are incorporeal. They're 3 stones.
6,
they have Accomplice, which is really good, but they're insignificant. They have like a sort of the lead nightmare, which will, I guess, help Widow Weaver and like
the Stitched.
Which probably is going to be Stitched. But they are Lucid Dream card draw bots. Oh, and Carver when you hire him, yeah.
They are deck fixing with Lucid Dream, and they're drawing a card. And funnily enough, when you're going to just turn your totem into a Stitched, their gun ignores armor, and you'll have 2 of them. So even if you min damage 4 times, you killed it because they don't actually need to use their AP turn 1 to do anything. And also late game,
we found it.
They seriously threatened armored models. I've had lots of games where these things shoot to death a model that has armor that they put in a position they thought was safe because the only thing they were in range of was a pair of Daydreams, but then you shoot them for a severe 4 that ignores armor, and they go, oh, your 3-stone model just did that because they don't have any cards anymore, and it's just super late in the turn, and your deck is fixed.
The freaking red, because that just happens with these things so often.
It does. I've red jokered a Peacekeeper before, so just take 5, ignoring your arm. They 100%, and I think that's the neat thing because, like you touched on it earlier, but the duet just gets absolutely disgusting when you have a Lucid Dream deck. It's just so gross.
I'll ask the question, and I already know the answer, but I'm going to ask it anyways for the folks at home. Why 2 Ancient Pacts over the 3rd Daydream to get your Lucid going faster?
Because you're drawing 2 cards. There's no other card draw. Plus, you get the it's another piece of the activation control. First turn, I'm making them go first, and then I can get an extra activation in there with the duet.
Because of the +2 to initiative that you're getting off of packs. Yes, I agree.
Yeah. I mean, I think I in most cases I'd rather have 2 cards every turn than have a little bit better deck because you'd only be getting 1, and you're still down a you're up a Soulstone, but you'd only be getting one extra card out per turn.
Also, not even the relevant part. Initiative is by far the more relevant part. I think.
Agreed.
And people say
you can't beat +2 initiative; it's too strong.
But Turner, you said the Wicked Doll was a terrible place to put an Ancient Pact, and these are just as easy to kill. Well, the Wicked Doll has to go forward to do anything.
They're also not just as easy because these have incorporeal.
They have less health.
Well, they have the same amount of health.
But they're not stealth, so they can be killed if you. Okay,
they're not dogs, please. They don't have 4 health for being cost 3.
These things can draw the card and Lucid Dream from the nether regions of the touching your deployment zone table edge.
Yeah. Yep. And if worst case scenario, if you need to put them slightly out to lead Nightmare once and then just move them back, fine.
They are move 6.
They are move 6.
They go fast.
Yeah. You gotta lead Nightmares in AP, move as an AP, so you can't move them out. Hide them, and then hide them.
I'm down to do this, by the way, in Boston. I'll bring the tree. Full Nightmare Dreamer summon list. Let's go.
Oh, did you see the one in the chat?
Lucid
down. Get like 3 summons per turn. Let's just fucking go.
Yeah. I'll post the list that have been devised in the chat while we're going over this. I guess then before we wrap, the general strategy for and against is probably good, but we also have some honorable mentions that we kind of want to talk about. We've talked about the tree a little bit. Mostly the only reason I think it's relevant in any way is the ability on the front of the card that lets you dupe scrap tokens. Once you do manage to get one, removing it, you get another one. That's pretty solid. Is there anything else that I'm not considering on Carnivorous Wyrd?
The dupe also works on Widow Weaver's webs, so if someone destroys a web, you can get the web back.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's 6-inch range, so that's not too bad. But you do only get to use it once per turn, so if you kill one of their webs, you can't use it on one of their markers, one of your scrap.
True.
Yeah. And plus, as a general, we're like, he has planted roots and armor and black blood. You know?
Yeah, he's really good for 7.
Yeah, planted roots is a hell of a drug in schemes where you don't want to move. And they have to kill him, but they have to get through armor and black blood to do it, which is fine.
Just be careful about your black blood.
Yeah, you got to be careful. Don't park him near your dudes. Park him 3 to 5 inches away. What was the? So we talked about candy. Obviously, candy. It's Neverborn, so that we're talking about candy. But what was the specific candy interaction that we were talking about?
Fast with duet, where you get to take 2 fast activations for the price of 1.
So the duet has 6 AP instead of 4.
Walk me through 2 fast activations.
So when a model when it replaces into 2 models, you choose the unactivated model to gain the conditions, and fast doesn't end until the end of a model's activation. So it activates,
so you camp it next turn.
Yeah, so it activates with fast, does the stuff, dances apart. The other one activates, still has fast, dances back together, so you get 3 AP twice.
I guess technically, if you really wanted to, doesn't that mean if you had Vasilisa, you could keep the fast indefinitely if you were willing to? No, because you can't. Yeah, you could, because you would tell the Coryphee duet to dance together in between.
No, because then it's activated.
Also, she can't.
Oh, right. Yeah, you're right. That doesn't work.
Anything because it's not a minion,
and she
can
can't
only tell the
Coryphee
to do things.
Yeah, so if you split apart and when you split apart, one of them has activated.
So when you dance together, they've activated. Yeah. Nope, you're right. That doesn't work.
Yeah. The trick is if any of the Coryphee have activated, and once they dance together, it's done. So do be wary of that. So candy fasting people seems good. Again, she's a lot of stones. She's 9 because you're hiring out a keyword, and then where are we putting her? But fair play. Is there anything else that anybody wanted to sort of talk about? Obviously, Haku dogs, candy dogs. But if you're hiring a dog and a candy, are you really hiring a dog and a candy here?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think we just about covered it.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. All right. Well, in that case, I guess I don't know if you want to do both, Turner. But Turner, do you want to talk about just the general Hinamatsu crew strategy, plan hiring, just briefly? Nothing too crazy because we talked a lot about it through, but just in a more concise point so people can jump to it.
So if I were to choose, if I had gone to an event and I was saying I'm going to play the puppet faction today, and I decided that I was declaring Hinamatsu, it'd probably be because it's a Bash Bros style pool where I intended to throw down and slug it out because I have access to Bill here, and I have access to the Kunoichi that's going to soup up somebody with a bunch of focus and give me good draws. And I have the tech from the Charm Order there, I guess. I don't know, that's not really part of my calculus on it, but that's where I'm thinking about it. I don't know what Landon's perspective is.
Landon, would you do this crew in a different time or a different place?
I think this is also the crew you'd take if you wanted to summon more, just because I think the fixing from Kunoichi is more valuable than whatever you're getting off of the deck improvement if you're looking to just crank out 3 stitches as quickly as humanly possible. But otherwise, I agree with your assessment of you're taking it because you want either Bill or Charm Warder or the option to take either of those models, which in a pool that heavily skews towards fighting for like a center point, it's when your opponent's likely going to be taking like those oops I don't die type models.
Yeah, fair enough. And then Widow Weaver, Turner, what's different when you approach that? How's your build there?
For Widow Weaver, it's probably something like Gather Intel or Plant Explosives, where her mobility is really important, and I'm not looking to engage because Widow Weaver is extremely fragile.
Yeah, fair enough. Landon, similar premise.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. With Widow Weaver, you're looking for a pool where it's like corner or something where you can just delay of game the first 2 rounds and then come at him with a ridiculous looking deck.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, because right, and obviously we have the leverage side game, the mini game that you're playing, and then the more mini gamey
Lucid Dream
mini game with Widow Weaver. Haku, you're in a tournament. Your opponent declares one of these models as their leader. How are you building the tech against it? When you're done chuckling.
However, done chuckling, I lost a tournament to puppets. I don't know what you're talking about.
That's the thing I wasn't going to bring up, but you brought it up, so now we'll talk about it. It's funny. We actually chronologically, even though we shot it a long time ago, that was like the last year list to go off was the one that was the Pandora one where we talked about it because we had
that's funny. Yeah, I'll say this. The reason that lost me that game is the duet, and I'll say you have to just tech to beat the duet. If you can beat the duet, the rest of the crew is a subpar crew. It's bringing toolboxes to try to bring its win rate up against you by targeting your models. The only thing that you really have to care about is either be conscious of that tech piece that they now have available, and absolutely gotta just have a way to murk the duet, which I know is a lot more common because people are bringing anti-demise, really focusing it. So you gotta just remember that, and just don't Black Joker your attack against duet to not kill it, and then have it full heal itself because there's just so much healing. I hate this crew.
Because then it'll trap McMorning in your deployment zone for the entire game.
No. Yeah. Or it'd just go and F off because it can run across the whole entire map, no problem. It's a wild model, and in Arcanist, it's a pretty good model, and people who were used to playing against it in Arcs are like, oh, I've played against duet, it's fine. It doesn't get the support it gets in this crew. This crew takes duet and then notches it up like 2. Because you start staggered around it, you fucking get,
Well,
you heal it for 3, 4, 6 or whatever off of the bonus on your or your enforcer.
Like it's just so obnoxious to deal with in the puppet crew that if you don't have a guaranteed way to deal with it, you're just effed eventually.
Amazing.
Or you kill the whole rest of the crew, and then you just have to hope you can outscore a duet running amok inside your crew. That's the other option.
Yeah, which depending on the strat pool and scheme pool might be a thing you can do. Maybe.
Yeah, I've done it before. You just ignore the duet, kill the whole rest of the crew because it's all pretty fragile stuff independently, and then you just.
Assuming you can ignore armor.
Assuming you can ignore that. Every model having armor. Yeah, fair enough. Well, thanks, guys, for coming on. Hopefully this has been informative. This is more of a fun one for us, I think, just because it's kind of a goofy premise to begin with, and far and away not the traditional Malifaux build, but I think that we talked a lot about some stuff that has some really good legs, and is totally a thing that you should mess around with if you got the models. If you have the models for this, is great. I will say, as a general rule, probably don't prioritize trying to get this because you're going to have to buy Hinamatsu, a bunch of Dreamer boxes. If you're going to play the Hinamatsu crew, you're going to have to buy a bunch of Neverborn boxes, a bunch of 10 Thunders boxes, some Arcanist boxes. All of the effigies are their own box. You are going to have to buy... Yeah, there are so many things. Like if you want to have access to this full crew or keyword, you're looking at probably like $300, which is like triple, if not more. It might even be more than that. But oh my gosh, it's so much. But if you have all these models because you play 10 Thunders and Neverborn anyway, and all the other factions, go for it. And Performer.
It's the bone they threw us for being your Collodi and Jacob Lynch owners.
Yeah, and when Collodi comes back, this is going to be the best information you have because you're going to keep everything that we did, but you're going to have to just pay for the henchman that you kept as your leader, and then you'll get Collodi for free with his 4 marionettes as totems. Wild stuff.
I mean, you're never getting Collodi the way he is now. It would need to be a complete remake.
Yeah, they will. Obviously, they'll remake him, but they're not going to not have the marionettes with him.
Look, man, we got Damien too.
Yeah. So Turner, thanks so much for coming. This was an awesome debut for you on the channel. I hope you'll come back at some point.
I would be delighted to. Thank you for the invite.
Yeah. And do we? Is there anywhere people can find you on the internet if they want to engage in your ambiance?
I am a member of the Malifaux World Series Committee, and I'm pretty active on that Discord, answering mostly rules questions. But I talk about Neverborn strategy stuff because I'm a Neverborn main.
Yeah, and there are so few of those. You should talk to Turner. He really knows his stuff. That's what I got. It's a hard faction, y'all, and he's really good at it. Do Landon and Haku got anything to plug? Presumably, if people want to see you, they should come to Boston in July for our GT.
Yeah, exactly. Come say hi.
Really should buy my tickets for that.
You probably should. Yeah. I wait until like 2 weeks out to buy all my tickets, so I'm not really one to talk, but
or if you're playing Malifaux in your basement in Chicago, I can like direct you to 3 different areas that are independently playing it depending on where you live. So like, shoot me a DM.
Does that include your basement?
I thought you were gonna say I'll come to your basement, but that's not.
I mean,
I live in Tennessee, but I will come to your basement.
Nice.
I have a basement. Let's do it.
We did.
We've had multiple basement tournaments. I'm down to host one.
Oh my gosh! I mean, your basement could actually do it, right? That'd be wild.
Yeah, pretty big basement.
If you have a basement tournament, Haku, I'll come out for it. As I have previously come out to many basement tournaments in Chicago, and by that I mean one time that Joe hosted. Shout out to Joe, you're the best. All right, this has gone on long enough. I'm going to end it now. But I guess suffice to say, I don't know. I wish I had thought up a good pun to end this on. Definitely, for sure, check out the Discord where you can find these guys, but also a bunch of other people play Malifaux. Thank you so much to our Patreon subscribers. You can see them scrolling through the screen now. You guys make the costs of running a YouTube channel very reasonable, if not zero. And we couldn't do it without you. So please, thank you so much for watching. Leave us a like and comment. Get in the comments about Wyrd buffing Bunraku and making all those things we said should be puppets, because they fucking are. I've been Brandon, Turner, Haku, Landon. Say goodnight to the internet.
Peace.
Night, y'all.
Good night to the internet.
Thank you. Okay, bye.